And just to illustrate how big an accomplishment that is, how many schools do you think are in both the football and basketball polls?
You told me. I wouldn't have known if you
Drew,
hadn't told me.
quick guess.
5.
Close.
Very good guess.
6.
Name them. Drew, name them.
Drew, you don't have to name them.
No.
I'll name them for you.
It's the big boys.
I can tell you they're all Power 5. They are LSU, Florida, Auburn, Oregon, and Ohio State. Memphis is in that kind of rarefied air. Why is it so tough to be good at both sports? First time in Memphis history, but you would think, look at all these programs. You would think there would be more.
Why is it?
I've never quite been able to figure that out.
Used to, it was some turf war. Everybody didn't play well with each other. And a lot of it was driven by the old football guys. It was. A lot of football and basketball coaches didn't do well. Mm-hmm. Budget, order of import, real or imagined.
I could understand, seriously, if there was a question of money and you were like Kentucky, you were committed to one historical,
that was one of the
traditional
famous
thing. Right.
The
Bear Bryant.
Leftover.
He got a ring and
he got a watch and Adolph Rupp got a Cadillac.
Got a Cadillac, and that's what sent him to Texas A&M. Right. I get that.
Snit.
So money, that would be fair.
Eddie Sutton.
But when you're a Power
each other.
when you're a Power 5, there's no problem with money.
Exactly.
So that's no longer the issue.
Honestly, now, Dave, at just about every basketball place, they know the pecking order. There's not any turf wars, it's not any real or imagined.
So at Kentucky, we know Cal is king over Stoops.
He's one of the
few. In Kansas, we know that football, even with Les Miles, takes a back seat to Bill Self and
Duke
and to basketball.
David Cutcliffe would have to know.
Oh, yeah.
North Carolina, Mac Brown, cool bite, eyes wide open, went back a second time.
There's a school, though, the way they're going to be in both.
But most everywhere else, you know. They said that Wimp Sanderson used to really grouse about, football gets this and, I get that. Come on, Wimp. Played there. You grew up there. Assistant coach there.
LSU's doing it. Both Florida's doing it, but Florida's been the one really since Steve Spurrier
Michigan
has come in.
has. Texas has.
Michigan's been pretty good.
FSU's pretty good at both.
If this were a normal year for Jim Harbaugh, who, as we figured out yesterday, has won 75% of his games, but if he was having any kind of usual year for him, they would be in there. Ohio State normally is in there. I'll tell you who's not in there that normally is Texas.
But they historically mostly have achieved in both, and then of course Texas for baseball and women's basketball and just about everything you can keep scoring. They're pretty good at golf, men's golf, women's golf. But it'll take us, sadly, and with Stan Jones on his staff, a great Memphian, it'll take us until about March 10th to go, man, Leonard Hamilton's really good again.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you who.
Arkansas's been good at both
I'll tell you
times.
who else is in this USA Today poll that wasn't in the AP poll, and that's Tennessee. And Tennessee had a good day yesterday. They got the 3 linebackers from Whitehaven for football, and they got this kid Springer, who's like the 13th rated prospect of all, a 5-star, to come there. And Rick Barnes continues to do amazing things. And as much as you and I believe, thought that Texas was brilliant in getting Shaka Smart, they won. I wonder if they're going, maybe we shouldn't have let Rick go.
Historically, Oklahoma's been pretty good at both.
They have been. You're right.
Historically, Georgia Tech's been pretty good at both. Couple basketball Final Fours, won a national championship.
Honestly, I think of Georgia Tech now as much more basketball than since Bobby Cremins probably than I would football, because they had to go gimmicky
won a
in
national
football.
Championship since then, since Bobby Cremins has been there. While he was there.
While he was there. Well, they haven't done very much in football since then. Of course, they haven't
They
done
were
that
in the
much
Orange
in
Bowl
basketball.
a few years ago. Beat Mississippi State.
when you have to go to a triple option offense because you can't get the athletes to compete with the other ACC
he went to the Orange Bowl
schools.
with it.
True. I don't know. My perception of them is clearly more basketball than football.
Historically, Utah's been pretty good at both.
Oh yeah, no question. From Urban Meyer's days
to do
there,
it at the same time, year after year after year, it's really hard.
Oh,
and now in these parts, Dave, just so many people in the SEC world, after football, baseball's their favorite sport.
well, yeah, I think is that a fair thing to say at Ole Miss right now?
Yes.
Because I think they're I've been around where their basketball games were outdrawn by baseball games.
I think at Ole Miss, at State, right now, in this moment in time, at Arkansas, we know historically what Eddie Sutton and Coach Richardson did. At this moment in time, South Carolina, and that's off the Final Four
I know.
for men's basketball.
Look where they were rated in the SEC preseason poll by the coaches there. I mean, the mighty have fallen.
LSU's a good one. I mean,
They're good in everything.
they're good in everything.
Well, just think about this. And again, it points out the I guess the right word is supremacy of the SEC, because there are only 6 teams that are in both the football and basketball polls. 3 of them, half of them, come from the SEC.
I think you could tell after going there. I was very impressed with everything I saw in Columbia and on that campus and by Mizzou and those nice people in that beautiful campus. But looking at that new basketball arena sitting right by the old one, boy, they replaced a Cadillac with a Cadillac. It's a really nice arena.
I don't believe I've been in the new one. I've done games in the old one. And the old one was where the Antlers used to be. And that was a tough place to play. Actually, I'd gone there as a student broadcaster when SIU used to play. But that might have been even in the building before that. This might be their 3rd building.
But what distinguishes the Tigers from all this other conversation we've had so far in this basic 9 minutes and 19 seconds, they're not Power 5 in doing it.
No, they don't have the budget.
The cup runneth over at all those other places.
Well, let's go back to this. Let's go back to 2 people. And I think it's fair. Honestly. The first guy is the first one I've ever heard come right out and absolutely say upon his hiring that what he does is football and he can fix football. And that is our friend Tom Bowen. He came in and he fixed football. The other part of that was the guy that did the true heavy lifting, and that's Justin Fuente, who came in, and look, people may forget he lost his very first game to UT Martin. UT Martin! And then look what he did. And this is where we are today. And honestly, I mean, if we're being very truthful here, Mike's taken it another step up. I mean, he's taken it to a much better level than Justin Fuente did, and maybe Justin Fuente was capable of, because there's no doubt in my mind Mike is a much better recruiter than Justin Fuente.
Seems to like it a little more. And
I think he relates. I think Justin is brilliant. So I'm not trying to knock him here.
To work out for him at Virginia Tech.
I do
in
too.
His career.
Like the Dickens, because I am really, really fond of Justin.
I want him to get his dream job at Notre Dame.
He does not relate to kids, younger kids in particular, the way that Mike Norvell does.
And it's been a lot of stories like that, and I think he's having, like a lot of coaches are having trouble with the youngster of today that very much does their own thing, and the transfer portal and the immediate eligibility on transferring. Houston got a big break with the transfer from KU for basketball. And Arkansas thinks they're going to get it on Connor Vanover, a name I know a lot of Tiger fans remember. And he had a pretty good down the stretch year last year for Cal. He was really good from about February on in a otherwise up and down freshman year. Arkansas needs him badly, and Eric Musselman thinks he's going to get him immediately eligible. I was told that the illness in the family, while it's not good, it's certainly not grave. And he knew, Connor Vanover, when he signed with Cal, knew that the family member was ill, but the NCAA's giving everybody a pass that asked for one now. And some of these.
That's the way it's working now.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long that'll last, but that's the way it is right now.
And I don't know about that case in particular, but some out there. I know of one player got immediate eligibility. His mom was sadly in an automobile accident, and she had a broken shoulder. Well, I don't want that to happen to anyone. But is that the health issue that he needs immediate eligibility to be back home over when he knew when he signed he was going a long way away from home?
If there is, I mean, you have to look at the circumstances. I can remember, and I'm not going to give names out here, but I can remember years ago, one of the first ones, a player transferring from a school that was a big-time school back to a regional school here because their parent was gravely ill with cancer. And that parent is still alive and well today, and it's 15 years or 10 years later.
Which there are medical marvels.
Right.
But I do think when you sign to go way, way, away, you need to think, well, what if I got that call and I needed to get home tomorrow morning?
But if it's a car wreck, that's a whole different ballgame.
And it was fender bender car wreck that her shoulder was busted up in, but the NCAA's giving the waivers out, so you need to take them.
Yeah. I would agree with that. We got World Series to talk about.
Is it over?
2-0, and you're going home for 3, probably.
What an upset.
Oh, it is. Well, we were just chatting with Eli Savoy, and he reminded us. I mean, this truly is remarkable when you consider they are down in the 8th inning to Milwaukee, and the closer, Hader, is coming in, who's
Pumping
done
gas.
nothing but throw 102 miles an hour and either strikes you out or grounds you out. I mean, nobody hits the ball.
Just feeble.
And they come back and win that. They fall behind by 2 games to the
2-1.
2-1 to the Milwaukee, to the LA Dodgers, a team that won 106 games this year. And they come back and win that series, best of 5. Then they sweep the Cardinals, and now they're in the midst of sweeping the Astros, who are unbelievable.
Cardinals didn't even compete. They couldn't. They were rendered
so that's
senseless.
8 in a row and 18 of their last 20. What the Nationals are doing right now is unreal.
And I mentioned the Reds sweeping 90 as heavy underdog against the A's that were a behemoth.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes in baseball, sometimes in sports, you get on that Red Sox 0-4 destiny run, and it doesn't matter what's in front of you. You bulldoze it.
The Nationals could very well be on that sort of a run.
They could be. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity Fall Sales Event. Great offers on all the 2019 models that remain and all the 2020 cars that are rolling in and taking over, and always special lease options at Lexus of Memphis. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, you will. And Lexus of Memphis will make sure you're looking great in one of their beautiful cars. Driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you will be looking and driving great. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
We got a little bit of everything from the Grizzlies last night. First 3 possessions, 3 turnovers. Then they right the ship, and they got a big lead at the half. They got a 1-point lead after 3. Ja Morant was making some nice plays. Jaren Jackson was, on occasion, making some nice plays. Brandon Clark was really good. Tyus Jones was even better. Mm-hmm. Good things you saw. You got a 1-point lead going to the 4th. Well, I wish the story could end right there. And we may be saying that a whole lot this year. But a 37-17 fourth quarter. You could only muster 17, and that defense gave up 37. And that spelled a 19-point loss on the road at Miami. But I will say this. I take away some good things. Look, John Morant, he is going to be up and down this year. He had some brilliant moments there, and he ended up with 4 assists, but he had 6 turnovers in the game.
That's why they call them rookies.
And let's face it, if you're going to be a major point guard in the NBA, your assist-to-turnover ratio's got to be much further the other way.
Yeah, there was a point I was going to text you. You can't go 82-0 unless you start 1-0.
Well, they almost were.
But now
they're not going 0 for 82.
My top story: Nationals take commanding, right? Was it commanding lead?
Yeah, it's when you're up against Verlander, and you're struggling to try to get you got 2 runs in the first, but it's
they matched you.
And here comes Suzuki, and he's already close to 100 pitches, and he's figuring all I got to do is get a couple more guys out, and then bullpen's going to come in. I've done my job.
Yeah, he mostly did. Mostly.
Well,
but
he's
now,
a little like Clayton Kershaw, isn't he? Do you know he's the first guy in the history of the World Series to lose his first 5
when you're
games?
mentioned in the same breath as Gary Nolan with the early 70s Reds and you're Justin Verlander, that's not the spot you're in.
And Suzuki's home run that broke the game ended up really beginning the
onslaught.
The barrage. That ball was hit so hard, so far off Verlander. I don't know if I've ever seen a better struck ball against Justin Verlander.
I say commanding. 12-3 win, demolishing of Houston, and now 3 at home in Washington. Win 2, first World Series win in D.C. since Walter Johnson led the Senators to the 1924 World Series crown.
That's incredible.
Walter Johnson.
Wow.
Other Senator stars.
That's the Walter Johnson, not his cousin.
Other Senator stars on that 1924 team. You ready for these names?
Yes.
I had to look them up. Muddy Rule, Roger Peckinpah. I thought that was
Roger
a
Peckinpah.
director.
Yeah. That's Sam Peckinpah.
Ossie Bluge and Goose.
I've never heard of him.
And Goose Goslin. Soto, Rendon.
Is that Ryan Gosling's great uncle?
I don't know. Goose Goslin. I thought that was a sports writer in Dallas. Seriously, I did. Soto, Rendon, Turner, Zimmerman, and no Bryce Harper. Ouch.
Well, it's a little like the Cardinals.
Bruce Harper's not even there with Ossie Bluge.
When Pujols left.
Ossie, not Ozzie. Ossie. Ossie.
It is an incredible story.
Muddy Rule. You know he walked around with a big wad of cash.
This team was what? 12 games?
Everywhere he went, just Hunskies everywhere.
Middle of May?
Muddy Rule, just making it rain.
There's old Muddy.
Middle of May, and they were 12 under 500.
If the Nationals blow this, biggest D.C. collapse since Wilbur Mills got caught in the tidal basin with the stripper. What was her name? Fannie Fox.
Fannie Fox.
I
do remember.
I knew Wilbur. You know the amazing thing about Wilbur Mills?
You knew him.
A lot of
Really?
A lot of his staff, they didn't even know that he drank.
Really?
He after that, humiliated. He was Ways and Means chair and a nice, smart man. Went to Harvard. I mean, brilliant guy.
Those strippers.
Yeah. But after that, he was the bedrock of the Little Rock AA chapter. He saved more lives with that humiliation than a lot of people trying to lead a straight and narrow life.
Not top story of the day.
Brett, I looked at my phone.
Yeah.
I checked the weather in Tulsa Saturday. There's rain in the forecast. Rain in the forecast. However,
torrent,
I think, and it's a good thing that ESPN wanted to put us, or CBS actually, wanted to put us in that 6 o'clock game. Because I think by 6, it clears up. Had that been the early game, the 11 o'clock game, it might have been in the middle of rain. And rain, seems to be kryptonite. Kryptonite, I'm telling you, to Brady White. But hopefully it clears.
It'll kick out.
Hopefully it will clear up. It should be in the upper 60s.
I love Tulsa. Easiest town in the country to drive in before GPS and stuff. Because it's laid out in a perfect square, and like everything north and south, the numbers and everything east and west.
So now you can
names.
love everything now because you have GPS.
My not top story: Grizzlies opened their season last night with 3 good quarters and 1 stinkeroo, one really bad one, and they lost by 19 to Miami on a night that they rested Jimmy Butler on opening night. What does that say to you? That the team's star, their big offseason pickup, They rest him on opening night against you. You're bad.
Yep. It does. But that wasn't, I don't think, the reason.
No.
This was Jimmy in a, he gets a little, I think we can say this on the air, pissy. And I think
we can, but I don't say that for mad.
He was a little upset about something. And so he decided, to heck with it. I'm not going to
I said dog excrement yesterday, and that's about as close as I've been to ever cursing on there. And that sounded worse than the CRAP word. The actual, literal Mr. Webster's word for it sounded worse than the CRAP
I got
word.
news for you. If you're quoting a journalistic source, I think you can use the word.
No, I wouldn't try that with some of the big ones.
Well, they're not going to be directly quoted. They're going to be dashes in there. That's the way that would work. And those are your top and not top stories of the day. Bruce Howard, voice of Tulsa, is going to join us in a minute. We'll talk about that fourth quarter and a whole lot more, and the good too, with Pete Pranica, TV voice of the Grizzlies at 4 o'clock. Russell Copeland on the National Football League at 4:30. Greg Gaston will talk Tigers at 5, and then at 5:30, a lot of baseball with our guy, Tim Doolin. Speaking of baseball, I got one fair question for you. News today, Joe Girardi becomes the Philadelphia Phillies manager.
That's not the big managing news.
Joe Girardi, 9-10 and 7-10 with the Yankees over a good period of time, 2008 to 2017. Here's my question for you, because I believe the Cubs had the choice.
I would have hired Joe Girardi.
That's my question. Would you have hired Ross or Girardi?
But
and you know where I stood on that.
A good way to go broke is second-guessing Theo Epstein.
True.
At this point, hadn't Theo Epstein
maybe David Ross will end up being this brilliant tactician.
Theo won with two different guys in Boston after turning that Titanic around.
Mm-hmm.
So
he also was the guy that hired Joe Madden for Chicago.
Will David Ross win a World Series in his first 2 years like Joe Madden did?
Good question. Well, let's see what other acquisitions the aforementioned Theo makes. How about this question?
Name the Padres.
Whoa. Who wins the
manager.
World Series first? The Cubs with Ross, the Phillies with Girardi.
I don't think either one of them will.
Oh, I think either one of them could. Absolutely.
Name the new manager announced today by the San Diego Padres.
Is it Espada?
No.
I don't even know who they have.
This could be one of those bets, like
Rocco?
steak and whiskey forever.
Steak and whiskey forever, if I get it right? Let me Google.
J.C. Tingler. Jayce, not J.C., like J.C. Sneed, but J.C., Jayce.
Like the JCs.
Yeah, well, yeah, without an E and an S. Yeah. Tingler. One of the great names ever.
J.C. Tingler.
Stage name, isn't it?
Huge stage name.
It's got to be.
I have never heard of this. Who is he?
It was the guy in Boogie Nights, wasn't it?
I think so.
Where'd he come from? He's not been on any other list, and we got like 8 teams at one time that were looking for managers.
I heard the name, and I went, come on, they're pulling our leg. I mean, that can't be it.
Are you serious? Did that really happen today?
Yes.
You're not messing with me? Because I've been in all kind of meetings all day.
We have 3 managerial openings now left in the National League, and that is Pittsburgh, the Mets, and San Francisco.
Yeah, here it is.
J.C. Tingler.
Is it JC or Jace?
It's J.C.
You're sure of that?
Uh-huh.
He came from the Rangers. He was the Rangers'
What a name.
Major League Player Development Field Coordinator. He's 38. How do you go from a player development field coordinator to a manager? Well, how do you go from a broadcast booth to a manager? I guess the roads vary. The paths are different. Have you ever heard of the guy before today?
Never. Great name.
And you know baseball.
I
mean, that's absolutely amazing.
And I did pick the Nationals.
You
Well, I picked the
win the World
I
Series.
picked the Astros in 6. All they got to do is win the next 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm.
It's happened three times in baseball history.
I picked the Astros in
Win
7.
First two on the road. Happened to the Cardinals in '85 to the Royals.
Did you know? The time has come. It's sad. But it's exciting all at the same time. The big move is here. Edwin Watts is moving this weekend. They'll be at the new location on Monday. Oh, that address is 5895 Poplar. The only reason I'm saying I should be excited, but you know how change when you get a little older is tough. And Edwin Watts is just, it's been forever at Poplar and Perkins. And that beautiful little putting thing, which I knew all the reeds that everything breaks toward Poplar, just if you're ever, well, you'll never know anymore. But you know what? This new place is going to be bigger and better. It's going to have more putting green surface. It's going to have a bigger computer where you can check your swing out and really see if those clubs fit. Monday's the day. 5895 Poplar. That is that strip center that is right there at Poplar and I-240. They'll still be in their current location through Saturday. They're going to move on Sunday. They'll be ready for business on Monday. So it's a sad day, but it's an exciting day. It'll be even bigger and better. Edwin Watts Golf is moving 5895 Poplar. You can go until Saturday, again, to Poplar and Perkins, and then it'll be the new digs. We'll all have to get used to it, but it's not that far. Right there at Poplar and I-240. We take a break, and we'll head to Tulsa. And our friend Bruce Howard, he's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
The Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn. Ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn. Tell people to stay off the lawn. Compare it to your neighbor's lawn. And complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family owned since 1981.
It's car buying time now during Wolf Chase Nissan's Summer Savings Event. More cars, better offers, and bigger savings than ever before. Model year-end savings on every new 2019 Nissan in stock. Financing as low as 0% up to 60 months on select models for qualified buyers with approved credit through NMAC. Hurry in for exciting summer savings. And remember, if your car says Wolf Chase Nissan, you got the best deal. WolfChaseNissan.com.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Benswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Benswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Benswanger Glass in Midtown, located at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit their website, benswangerglass.com. Benswanger Glass.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wologian and Brett Norsworthy.
What's that? As the world goes
Welcome in. What a gorgeous day it is today again. Fall has arrived. A lot of sunshine. Let's hope that sunshine carries over. No rain in Tulsa. Bruce Howard, their voice, going to join us in a minute. I'll let you know we're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. That factory direct pool table, it's still going on, and so is that spa sale. We got an extension of that with the pools. This is free installation on all the in-stock pool tables, which include a free playing package, free choice of felt. And the pool tables start as low as $12.99. Now, can you believe you get that? All that, and the installation. And this is like a beautiful piece of furniture that's fun. My goodness. And then they've taken that spa sale, the in-stock spas, and they still have some left. So they've extended it. Plenty in stock, ready to ship. And if you do this now, there's 20, 30, maybe even 40% off the spa accessories. And that swim spa still at a very good price at $9,999. All you got to do is get to Family Leisures. That's 2120 Witten Road. That's basically I-40 and Witten Road. 70,000 square feet of family, of fun. And these sales all happening at Family Leisure. To Tulsa we go. Our friend Bruce Howard, longtime voice of the Golden Hurricane.
The voice of TU.
Yeah. And Bruce, man, I'm still sick about the SMU game. You 21-0 in that game. What the heck happened?
Yeah. Well, I'm still sick about it. 21-point lead, going into the fourth quarter. Admittedly, it was 4th and goal to start the fourth quarter, and SMU scored. So They got one right away in the fourth quarter. So then essentially a 2-touchdown game, but still, it's one of those games. There are games that you should have won, then there are games you could have won, and then there are games that you might have won. Well, no question the SMU game was in the should have category. Last week against Cincinnati, that was, one that you could have won. But no question about it, the SMU game is one that's still kind of a burr under the saddle here, no question.
Bruce, and it should be, and I promise you, I don't know when it was. I'm going to say, Drew, you and Dave may remember, I'm going to say somewhere late in because you were very competitive. Tulsa was very competitive against Oklahoma State. I texted both of you guys just out of nowhere on a Saturday afternoon. I said, Tulsa's improved this year, and Tulsa, y'all are improved. Your 2 wins look pretty good. I know you want more, but you beat San Jose State pretty bad, and they beat Arkansas at Arkansas, and you beat Wyoming, and Wyoming beat Mizzou. Your 2 wins are pretty good, and your narrow losses. Philip Montgomery's got to improve football team, Bruce.
Yeah, and it's hard to see that when you're 2-5. I mean, you don't want to use that old cliche that you're the best 2-5 team in the country, but I wouldn't think that there are too many other teams around with 2 losses or 2 wins, I should say, that are as good as this team. But you got to go and you got to win those games. And I was looking at it and we were figuring, you figure out all sorts of silly stats and that kind of thing. But the record of the teams that Tulsa has played when they played them, meaning Michigan State, 0-0. They took on San Jose State, and San Jose State was 1-0 at the time. The record of the teams that TU has played when they've played them totals up to 25-3.
Wow.
Whoa.
So,
wow.
I mean, and
Memphis
that includes the Memphis.
Yeah.
No.
Includes the Memphis 6-1.
Oh, that includes the Memphis 6-1.
That's impressive.
Yes.
Well, you talk about woulda, coulda, shoulda, and we meet with the coaches on Thursday, so this was in my mind. Against Cincinnati, which you held to 24 points, I believe there were 5 turnovers by the Golden Hurricane in that game. And that would tell you that your defense did a heck of a job, because Cincinnati's a physical team. They're going to come at you, and you held them to 24 with 5 turnovers.
Right. And there were, a couple of interceptions and 3 fumbles, and unfortunately it was Zach Smith on all 5 of them, although, a lot of times, you get hit while you're throwing. It's not really necessarily your fault, so not all interceptions are the fault of the quarterback. However, there were 5 turnovers, and your point is well taken. The defense really has done a good job essentially all year long of kind of embracing that adversity, that quick change situation. The defensive coordinator, Joe Gillespie has been like, hey, guys, when that happens, adversity, that happens in a game, it happens in life, embrace it, go out and attack it. And so they've been pretty good in those quick change situations. I think they've only given up 2 touchdowns in all of the turnovers they've given up this year. So they've done a nice job.
The other thing that I thought was really wild about your defense, And I don't think anybody else in America has done this year. They are 100% on when a team fumbles the ball, the Golden Hurricane get it. They are 8 for 8 with fumbles recovered. How does that happen?
Right. Yeah. Usually somehow it hops up into the the offense's hands or something. But yeah, we've been pretty opportunistic in that. Now we've also had a couple of interceptions called back on penalties and interceptions that should have been made, and all that happens as well. Sometimes you have a guy makes a perfect break on a ball and just doesn't catch it. So that's happened. But for the most part, they've done a really nice job of prying the ball free, and when that ball's free, they've jumped on it. And it's funny though, the old baseball adage: when you get pitching, you don't get good hitting, and when you get good hitting, you don't get good pitching. And right now, that seems to be the cycle Tulsa is in. Offense plays well, defense doesn't, and vice versa. So somehow, some way, they're going to have to. And hopefully it happens Saturday, but somehow, some way, they've got to try to put together a complete 60 minutes.
At quarterback, Zach Smith, 4th in the AAC in passing yards. Is that the strength of the team?
Well, I think that can be the strength, Brett. When they keep him upright, he's pretty good. He'll find some people, and he's not your dual threat quarterback. He's not. When they talk about the RPOs or the read option or all that sort of thing, he's a little bit like Dane Evans a few years ago. When he carries it, it's you have a parade. It's a party because he does not keep it very often. And he's your prototypical stay in there and take the hit and try to get the ball released. And he's gotten hit a lot this year. But, that also engenders quite a bit of respect from your teammates. You stand in there and you take a hit and you deliver the ball to somebody and it ends up being a big play. Those guys pick you up and then you move on and it really energizes the team. So, right now they've had, kind of spits and starts with the running game a little bit. When they can get that going, obviously you're a little bit more balanced. Memphis obviously knows that the way you all run the ball. But when they can run the ball a little bit, they're a whole lot better. And when they keep Zach Smith upright, obviously they're a whole lot better.
Well, one of the things when you mentioned Dane Evans that I recall how good he was against Memphis, and how good your offensive line was. And our coaches are talking about the most improved thing from the beginning of the year with Tulsa to now is your offensive line play, because they're so young. You're basically starting 3 sophomores and a freshman to go with one experienced guy, a senior. And one of the problems, I think, for Zach Smith, and maybe he holds the ball too long, I don't know, but 26 sacks given up. That's the worst number I've seen this year.
Yeah, and you know how that happens. Sometimes, there's a couple of things going on with the offensive line, and I would agree. I think they've come along. They've improved a lot, and they've got a really good offensive line coach, but they are young, and 2 things have happened, with the line. After Michigan State had whatever it was, 6 or 7, sacks to start the year, then everybody looks at film and starts, gosh, hey, we can exploit these guys. So they start devising things. I think, if your reputation is that you're a little bit shaky in this certain area, then the defensive coordinator goes out and he devises a whole bunch of stuff to exploit that. And it seems as though that's kind of happened with Tulsa. I mean, you got teams that don't normally blitz, and all of a sudden they're in a 0 blitz package, and they're bringing more than you have. And so now, that's not on your offensive line. That's on a running back or an H-back or somebody else to pick up. And sometimes even if you have help, you can't pick up all 7 guys or whatever number is blitzing. So I think defensive coordinators, they see the blood in the water and they kind of go after it. Another issue Tulsa's had is false starts. So all of a sudden you have SMU, you have Navy, you have Cincinnati, all trying to replicate the count, all shouting and shifting and moving and stuff. And all of a sudden, it kind of exacerbates the situation. It's a little frustrating, no question. But I think you're right. Physically, I think they're a whole lot better. And if they can just stop making the mistakes, and that kind of, if they can just kind of be a little bit more disciplined, I think they can be pretty good.
And I know you share this like we do, the transformation, really the evolution of this league from Mike Oresco's dream to this league really being this good now when you look at Cincinnati, maybe say compared to Michigan State or to Oklahoma State or SMU to Oklahoma State, where do you think the AAC opponents on the Tulsa schedule rank with some of the bigger name non-conference opponents?
Well, I'll tell you this, they're a whole heck of a lot closer than they were 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, physically and that sort of thing. I don't think there's any question the league has raised its level. And I'll say this, and I don't know how, Dave, obviously you've looked at the team coming off the bus at Memphis all these years, and I'd say right now coming off the bus and physically, I think Tulsa has more talent athletically, than any team or almost any team that Philip Montgomery has had. So I think the talent level is better. Problem is, everybody else in the American has gotten so good. You used to have a few, what are you going to say, easy touches. You used to have some that you really thought, okay, that looks like a W. But you can't go to Tulane and think you're going to win anymore. You can't even have Tulane come into your house and think you're going to win. Obviously last week was maybe a little bit of an anomaly with that, but I think the league is really good, especially when you think of, Houston and Tulsa being at the bottom of the division here, at this point. And, who would have thought that might happen to Houston? Because they certainly have a lot of talent. So I think the league has really raised its talent level. I think a Cincinnati team could go play with a Michigan State. Now they proved they couldn't play with Ohio State,
that's
but I think
sure.
that's a
but a lot
story.
of people can't do that.
No,
right,
that's
exactly.
a different level.
So I think Cincinnati goes out to UCLA and whips them without too much difficulty.
I'll tell you this.
So I think, I think it's better.
I've never seen a Tulsa team where their offensive line averages 313 pounds a man. I've never seen a Tulsa team that up front on defense, 312 at the tackle, 300 at the nose, DBs that are 6'3", 6'2", 6'4" is one of them back. I mean, that we've never seen before. And so, no, I think that point is well taken. I do wonder, and I've always liked Philip Montgomery, and I remember when he was at Baylor. Is there some heat on him? 5th year, only 23 wins so far.
Well, I think no more heat externally than he would put on himself internally. I mean, I think, there's no question. Every coach wants to win, and you have to win. And so he's a guy that's perpetually positive. He's a guy that really, and that's the way you have to think at this point. You're 2-5. You got to believe that you're going to rip off 3 or 4 in a row. You have to. There's no other way you can be a coach and not think that way. And I think he, firmly believes, because of many of the things you've already talked about, the tough schedule, the athleticism that Tulsa does exhibit, especially on the defensive side, that he does believe that they're going to get it going and they're going to get it turned around. It's just you just look at the schedule this year, and it's the 10th toughest schedule in the nation right now. And then taking on number 25 Memphis on Saturday. Up ahead, Tulane. That's not easy, obviously, in New Orleans. UCF, Houston,
and
East Carolina's gotten better.
They sure have.
There's no easy one in there.
Oh, the rest of your schedule is tough, and you're starting this Saturday with the Tigers. Give us a brief scouting report on Frank Haith's basketball team. It'll be a long time before we see you this year, but between now and then, what do you think we'll see out of the Golden Hurricane basketball team?
Well, I don't think we were recruited quite as well as Memphis. I'll say that to start with. But what he does have, what Frank does have, is he's got a number of really just good players in athleticism. And again, I may be again speaking similarly that I did a few minutes ago about Phillips' team. That I believe they have more length, athleticism, and a depth than they've ever had. They've got a core of about 4 guys that Dave's obviously familiar with, Martin Zigbanus and Jariah Horn and Elijah Joyner and Lawson Correa. Those are kind of the core coming back, but they've got a number of transfers and JUCO guys, a couple of which have been through the system for a year sitting out, that I think are going to be really good. I have not seen the length on a Tulsa team like I see with this team. So I think they have a chance to surprise people. And one of the reasons I say that is they were picked 10th which, every year we seem to get picked lower and lower, and every year Frank is able to outdo whatever the prediction is.
We won't see you in Memphis this year. No return trip for Tulsa to Memphis. Only one game, that one at Tulsa in January.
That makes me sad because I love visiting your town.
Well, we're sad for you then, but we'll try to bring you sunshine this week. Is Igbanu in his 8th year there?
At least.
It seems
he's been there longer than Hayes.
He's there forever. Last thing, you're going to keep the rain away, right? If we bring sunshine from Memphis, please keep the rain away.
Boy, it's been raining all day here today. I mean, it's been raw, and it's gotten down into the 40s. Supposed to rain tomorrow and maybe even into Saturday, but our hope is, and who knows with the weather, but our hope is that it'll ease off by afternoon on Saturday, and hopefully we might even see some sunshine. I don't know, but the longer range forecast is for it to probably cease sometime in the afternoon on Saturday.
Good.
If that's the case, maybe we'll have a great day for it. And, the temperature's I don't think is going to be too bad.
No,
maybe a high Saturday
60s.
of 60. Is that what they're saying?
I thought I saw on my phone it was going to be 69 around kickoff.
But, boy, Bruce, as you well know, living there for so long, Tulsa gets every ounce of summer and every ounce of winter.
Yeah, and we don't seem to have fall and spring at all.
What is it, where the wind comes
whistling
off the plane?
Whistling off the plane.
And in the springtime, it can get, when it collides, as we know through the years, the poor people in Moore, Oklahoma, my goodness, that's ground zero, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. No, we get scared by the weather people quite a bit here. They definitely interrupt for any sprinkle. So, with good reason. If there's something serious, obviously they've got to let us know.
Thank you, Bruce. We
Thank you
appreciate it.
very
Look
much.
forward to seeing you Saturday in the press box.
Yeah, we'll try to fix the weather for you, but we'll see you for sure. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
You got it. Thank you, Bruce.
That is Bruce Howard, longtime voice of the Golden Hurricane, and a really, really great guy.
Great guy. And one of the best small sports towns in the country, Tulsa.
Oh, I like Tulsa.
I love it.
Have you seen what they've done with their riverfront and everything? I mean, they made it look very nice.
And what Tulsa football fights is, very, very similar to the fight for the Tigers, here for a long time. But, they get it from Oklahoma. They get it from Oklahoma State. There's a lot of people battling for attention.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Butcher Shop. We've got to give away some more of these Butcher Shop coupons, because last time we did that, we were, I believe, at the Spirit Shop, and people were clamoring. I mean, this is a hot item. This is Hamburger Friday. This is Sunday and Monday night dinners, $25 entrees. This is where the steak is so darn good. This is where the bread is fresh as can be, where the salads are terrific. This is a place you want to go. They've got so many banquet rooms, too. If you're thinking about a holiday party, this is the perfect place. Don't forget the Sunday brunch, too. And again, tomorrow afternoon, 11 to 2, the best hamburger in town. It starts at about 9 in the morning with the grinding of the steak, and then it's just put right on the grill. You can't get any fresher than that. That's the Butcher Shop in the Agri Center, Germantown Road, and Walnut Grove. Back in a minute. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find real sports talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Not when it comes to your car audio. Stereo One is the leader in car audio, remote start, security, and more for the past 30 years. Stereo One is proud to announce the grand opening of their new location, 1983 Covington Pike, across from the Honda dealership. To celebrate their new location, Stereo One has marked down their entire inventory. Remote start systems at $129 with free installation. Subwoofer base packages start at just $199. Window tint starting at $129. The entire inventory of radios and touchscreens with features like Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, and backup cameras are marked to go. Check out Stereo One before you buy online. Their knowledge, friendly sales staff, and pro installation team will take care of you. Visit the Stereo One new location today, 1983 Covington Pike across from Honda, or visit their mega store at Mendenhall and Winchester. Make sure you go to the originators and not the imitators. Stereo One is still the one for your auto accessories.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, There's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Reddick Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day, group play, and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
When you're sitting at work downtown on any weekday and you're thinking about what you're going to have for lunch, just think about 3rd and Court. Every day there's a different lunch special, and they're all really special. On Monday, it's the meatloaf. On Tuesday, it's the smothered pork chop. Wednesday, it's the incomparable fried chicken. Thursdays, it's Salisbury steak. And on Friday, the perfect fried catfish. When you're thinking about lunch during the week, there's only one place to think of downtown. 3rd and Court, where the daily specials are really special.
Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Ouch, these have been a bad couple of days for the Houston Astros. This story breaking, the Astros have fired assistant Brandon Taubman following a report he yelled at a group of female reporters.
Didn't he fire himself?
Yeah.
And Dave, I don't think it has affected one relay, one pitch count, but that aura around their team, I do think it has affected vibe.
Maybe.
You don't want anything affected around World Series
seriously.
time.
So, according to a report published earlier in the week by Sports Illustrated, during the celebration in the Astros clubhouse when they clinched the American League Championship Series on Saturday over the Yankees, Taubman allegedly turned to the female reporters, including one wearing a purple domestic violence awareness bracelet, and repeatedly yelled, "Thank God we got Asuna. I'm so blanking glad we got Asuna." That's correct.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who Asuna had been suspended from baseball for domestic violence.
75 games. So.
Exactly. So you knew he was in big trouble. When the Astros came to his aid, and then 3 other reporters came forth and said,
"Wait a second.
Hold on, that behavior really occurred," because they didn't think he had addressed those female reporters. He was just backing up Asuna in joy, okay? And that's not the way it was. The Astros now are very apologetic about it. Their statement is, "Our initial investigation led us to believe Taubman's inappropriate comments were not directed toward any reporter. We were wrong. We sincerely apologize to Stephanie Epstein, Sports Illustrated, and to all individuals who witnessed this incident and were offended by the inappropriate conduct. The Astros in no way intended to minimize the issue related to domestic violence. Our initial belief was based on witness statements about the incident. Subsequent interviews revealed Taubman's inappropriate comments were, in fact, directed toward one or more of the reporters."
Again,
he fired himself.
It hadn't affected one pitch count, nothing on the field, but the aura around their team and the vibe they want. Their players having to be, first of all, you don't want that behavior just because you don't want that behavior. Second, you don't want anything in their heads and that locker room crowded out by any noise other than, can you win 4 games in this series? And it has been. I think it is a little bit, not to where it has mattered anything 2-0, but I think it's distracted A.J. Hinch a little.
Possible. I have really no idea. I just think you nailed it. There was no provocation to this outburst.
None.
It was strictly a smug deal because the woman was wearing.
He said he didn't notice that.
Yeah.
But at this point,
why? Then, if that's the case, what was the provocation for the statement?
What's to be gained?
Right. Nothing. And in fact, it undid him, and he's gone. And honestly, I knew he would be gone. as soon as other reporters said, wait a second,
this is what happened.
Astros, you're wrong. That was directed. That was an offensive thing he did.
I wanted to give you an update since I brought it up yesterday on ratings news around the World Series, and it is I think you'll find this one interesting. So Game 1, the numbers are in, and they were all-time low. I mean, all time.
No.
And for Game 1, but compared to opening night of NBA, baseball just crushed it. Just absolutely crushed it.
So both are down, but the NBA was down more.
Here's World Series. Listen to some of these bad points. Tied lowest ever Game 1 rating. Second least watched Game 1, only ahead of 2014. Down 11% from last year.
Wow.
Among 10 lowest rated World Series games of any kind. D.C. turned in highest Major League Baseball rating since 2001. All that bad for baseball? Now, I know people are going to say cable versus network. I know. It beat Lakers-Clippers. Lakers-Clippers, pretty glamorous, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
240%. Okay, they beat them 20%. Would be one thing, wouldn't it? 50, cable versus network, 240%.
Well, and cable penetration with DirecTV and everything else is by far
Pretty
much
good.
better than it used to be.
That's exactly right. It beat Lakers-Clippers by 240%.
Well, one's an opening game and the other
One's
is
for
for
everything.
the World Series.
But you got so many saying that kind of the NBA test pattern beats everything, and it doesn't.
What you're showing me here is television now in this day and age with streaming and everything else, and I have no idea if that took into account streaming devices, because that's going to be the next argument. But the bottom line is we are such a fractured entertainment world in this day and age. No one's ever going to get the kind of numbers they used to get. That first game was a compelling game to watch all the way. So that's why I'm a little surprised. I don't know. I'm not sure what we make out of the NBA numbers, honestly. We got to take a break. That much I know. And when we come back, Pete Prenick is going to talk to us a little bit about those NBA numbers from a night ago when the Grizzlies fell by 19 in Miami. This final portion of hour number 1 brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Group. That's Matt. Matt Eflin, 20 years in this market of protecting people. That's what he does. And he does it so well. He's got that one-on-one approach where he evaluates each individual insurance needs, and he specializes in all types of insurance, whether that's personal or business. It's collaborative. He sits down with you. So let's talk about your family and your health and what your goals might be and where you want to be in a few years and how we can angle you in the right direction with the right product. Same thing with business. How far along are you in this business? Where is your goal? What's the most important thing to protect? He finds the insurance and makes sure you're secure. And when you get that security, you feel comfortable. You want that? You want a quote? You want that personalized service? Call 757-2315. Matt's got offices all over Memphis. The main one is in Bartlett on Stage Hills Boulevard. Again, that number, 757-2315. Get protected by the Eflin Insurance Group. We're back in a minute. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Mid-South Power Distributors is your source for all things diesel. Their newly renovated drive-in repair shop is open to the public. Whether it'll be your everyday driver, farm equipment, fleet vehicle, or heavy-duty truck, their ASE-certified technicians will get you back on the road. The on-site dyno is ready to run all the necessary diagnostic testing. From preventative maintenance to complete overhauls, Mid-South Power can handle it all. Stop in today at 3288 Mill Branch Road or call 901-396-0710 and online at mid-southpower.com.
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
Get your gun, Nellie, and saddle up Penelope. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Buick GMC. Old-time trading prices on over 700 new Buicks and GMC trucks, and the Sunrise Used Car Corral has over 500 in stock. Branch managers have been told to cut prices to the bone, and remember, you can bring your car to Sunrise Service no matter where you bought it. If you're a good person with bad credit, SunriseMemphis.com will help you put one of your brand on these little fillies. Free hot dogs and Cokes at the Chuck Wagon. Western Trading Days going on now at all 3 Sunrise locations. We make it fun to buy a car again.
125 seasons of Ole Miss football.
By Deuce, he may go.
Under
Dexter
center.
breaks a tackle.
Mike
Wallace between 2 defenders.
The tradition continues.
He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Ole Miss. Breaks a tackle. He's gone down the sideline. Touchdown, Ole Miss. He is a beast.
On your home for the Rebels.
Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56 and 87.7 FM. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome in hour number 2 of the program on this fabulous day. What a gorgeous fall afternoon. Hope you are enjoying it.
I saw Pete Pranica last night on my TV.
You did?
I did. Brevin Knight.
Can I bet you that Brevin Knight and Rob Fisher were there too?
They were there, right there in Technicolor, as NBC used to call it.
And Pete was looking good and sharp, and he was actually doing a very good job, I thought, for the first 3 quarters. But I don't know
the fourth quarter on Pete.
What the heck happened in the fourth quarter, Pete Pranica.
Yeah, it's amazing. When the Grizzlies are in the playoffs, I'm a much better announcer than when they lose games. That's just kind of the way that the way that it goes.
You were running the offense in the fourth quarter?
Who knows? I might get blamed anyway. No, you know what? A part of it was the Grizzlies' offense certainly flattened out, and they got turnover prone. Fact of the matter is that Miami made some defensive adjustments, and they just played with a lot more intensity, and they were using their two-way guys. And, Chris Silva comes off the bench because Udonis Haslem is hurt. Jimmy Butler's not there. Myers Leonard is completely ineffective, and they got some role players to just play their butts off and play hard on the defensive end, which has always been a staple of the Miami system. And, you see what happens. And it's something that Brevin and I have talked about, in our conversations on the golf course leading up to the season. You've got a young team, and you've got some 20-somethings that don't yet know how to win an NBA game. And it's going to be an educational process for them. And, they're going to be growing pains. And last night, as I said on the air, growing pains, and that was a doozy.
Yeah, they broke out in the fourth quarter. And you mentioned the Miami defensive tendencies and kind of backbone of that team. That's Pat Riley. That's Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah. I mean, you can always count on Miami having a very, very good defense, and now you get Jimmy Butler in there whenever he comes back from his personal leave. And I don't know if Deion Waiters is going to come back, because when you start tweeting things about the coach and your thoughts that he's not a very good coach, so I don't know if Mr. Waiters is back, but it's going to be a better offensive team. And defense always seems to travel, and Spoelstra's had a really good defensive system, and they'll be a good team again, and in the East, they may well be in the mix for the playoffs, especially if Butler plays as well as they think he will.
Did Jimmy Butler's personal thing have anything to do with Deion Waiters in support of that?
No, I'll be honest with you. We talked to everybody we could, and nobody had any idea. I mean, people could guess at what it might be, but that's not a guess that I heard. So I don't know. Eric Spoelstra said that he apparently had communication with Jimmy Butler, and everything was fine. It was personal, a personal matter, but it was not a personal matter of a negative nature. So
okay, you know what? I've seen Jimmy Butler be brilliant. I've seen him be a disruption. It'll be interesting to see how he fits with that Miami team, because I think they have some pretty nice pieces.
They're counting on him.
Winslow certainly looked like he's going to be a terrific player for them. You can't really judge anything from one game, but you get a little bit of a sense. So along those lines, what was your sense about Jaren Jackson? What was your sense about John Morant? What was your sense about Brandon Clark?
Well, I'm a big Brandon Clark fan. Good rebounder, great energy. The numbers were better in preseason than they were last night, but I think some of that is to be expected with the step up in competition and certainly in intensity. Ja has a tremendous handle and a great ability to finish around the rim, kind of like an Allen Iverson who somehow found a way, despite the fact he was a little guy, could get to the rim and could accept contact and finish. And we saw that from Ja. And then we saw some questionable decisions. What I liked most about Ja last night was after the game, somebody said, well, what are the positives? He said, I don't want to think about positives. I want to look at the video, and I want to get better from all the things that I screwed up tonight, and I can't wait to practice tomorrow. Well, that's the type of thing that you want to hear from a young player. As far as Jaren's concerned, rebounding has got to be a little bit more of a priority for him. Three-point shot wasn't falling. I know that this is a team that wants to shoot more threes, and Jaren has the ability to make threes. We saw that last year. But his post moves and what he's able to do on the block and in the paint, you don't want him to totally neglect that and just be shooting threes because, if Jaren has it going from three, great, let it fly. But if you're struggling with the shot, go inside. And I mean, he just posterized Myers Leonard last night. And I mean, Leonard is not a shrinking violet and is quite a physical specimen in terms of strength. And Jaren just went right at him and bunked on his head. So Jaren, you'd like to see him be well rounded, but again, recognize, look, three ball's not falling. Yeah, maybe I should stick around the rim a little bit more. But ultimately, he does have the ability to make threes. Last night was not one of those nights.
And, Pete, if nothing else, we got for another year that whole Grizzlies opening on the road, opening night thing behind us. Boy, can't seem to solve it.
Well, yeah, it's never been good. The only road win that the franchise has ever had was the first game in franchise history.
Right.
When they spoiled the opening of the Rose Garden back in 1995.
That was the very first game ever at what is now known as the Moda Center?
Yes. It was
I didn't realize that.
Dedication game of the Rose Garden. The Vancouver Grizzlies won that game. Then they won their home opener, I believe it was against Minnesota. And then they went 2-0, and I think they lost their next 17.
And
were you at the Rose Center at that game for the other side?
No, I was not at that game. I was at another infamous Grizzlies-Blazers game. It was the Clyde Drexler jersey retirement. And Portland had built, I forget what the number was, but built what they felt was an insurmountable lead. Scottie Pippen took his shoes off, started icing his knees, and the Grizzlies, Memphis Grizzlies at that point, came all the way back and spoiled Clyde Drexler night at the Rose Garden.
The Vancouver Grizzlies start one of the great headlines ever when they were in about game 16 or 17 of that losing streak, and the headline was, "Losing streak becomes Grizzly, Grisly," and it was.
And they had, I think they had a longer losing streak later in the season. God bless Don Poyer. He called a lot of really bad basketball.
Who was the hockey player a few years ago that he spelled his last name Satan? It was pronounced Satan. What do y'all remember him?
No.
I do vaguely remember that. Yes,
that's up there in great headlines. In one of the headlines, it was Satan is evil.
That is good. Give me your take on some of these other guys, and one of them, which I had mispronounced until I heard you finally say it. I think on the first preseason telecast was Guduric, which I had called Guduric for a long time. Guduric. I see some stuff that I really like, and he's supposed to be a shooter. We didn't see that, but I've seen a guy who can get into the hole and do some things.
Yeah, I think that it used to be back in the day when Pau Gasol was here, for example, European players were all branded as soft, and now I think if you get a wing player from Europe, you assume he's a good shooter, which Guduric, did shoot very, very well playing last couple of years in Turkey. He has been more assertive. The issue that the coaching staff was working with him on was his reticence to be aggressive, whatever it is. Put the ball on the floor, go to the rim, shoot. And he's done much better. I think he's acclimated himself really well. I think he's got a pretty good skill set, and once he gets more acclimated to the NBA game, and again, the shots are going to fall eventually, and I think he's going to be a nice role player for this team, and maybe he evolves into Bogdan Bogdanovic and can be a vital piece of this team. But we really like what we have seen, and again, we like Brevin and Rob Fisher and I, we came to this basically saying, European guy, shot a high percentage from three, that's what he's here for. Well, no, he can do some other things, and a good guy to boot, and a good teammate, as we've been able to see.
So I think it is. Do you think, Pete, the soft European wing player stuff is over?
Yeah, I think it is. You look at Jonas Valanciunas, I don't think anybody's going to say that he's soft. Yeah, I mean, it's but it was one of those things. When Pau was here, the European player coming here was very, very new. And, of course, Pau was very young and very slight of frame. And so then that was, NBA basketball is much more physical than European basketball. And, of course, those were the days, where the Knicks and the Bulls were playing games that, were 80-78 as final scores. And our league has evolved into something a little bit different now. So
you're right. I mean, you had not just Pau, but the guy that was one of those poster childs for being soft was Tony Kukoc.
He's
skill, but no physicality.
Didn't want to get touched.
Right. And Dirk Nowitzki too. I mean,
early.
That's true. Yeah,
early.
Yeah, early Dirk.
Yeah, silly me back then was calling him Dirky Poo. He was anything but that because he ended up being one of the stalwarts of all time.
I think we have to say he's the greatest foreign player so far in the history of the NBA. Wouldn't you agree?
And I think Powell's second. Or European player. Yao Ming's way up there for foreign.
Yeah, I mean, I would go with Dirk because I believe Dirk is the highest scoring foreign player in NBA history, and
he played a lot more games than Yao Ming ever played.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he is the greatest foreign player who ever played the game. Whether Europe, Asia, whatever you want to call it. Was there? Speaking of which, and I don't mean to get too political here, but were there any Hong Kong/China signs in Miami last night?
None that I was aware of. None that I was aware of. And again, I'm not typically. I'm only looking in the crowd for the FedEx fans game on the road. So I wasn't looking for signs. I didn't notice any disturbances or any protests or any signs or anything at all.
And tomorrow night, home opener against the Chicago Bulls, always festive, Pete. I've told Rob for years y'all should do the opening night or New Year's Eve game in black tie.
Well, we did the dedication game of FedEx Forum in black tie, and that didn't turn out very well.
I've done a New Year's game in black tie. It was fun. I did it in Minneapolis. It froze my rear end off.
Well, the funny thing is that game, it was on TV, so Don Poyer did TV. I was doing radio, but they also had me before the game running around doing all these various hits for the pregame show, including a sit-down interview with David Stern. The only time I've interviewed David Stern, and he insisted on making jokes about, when are you going to return your tux? And come on.
Well, he was commissioner, though.
Our friend Drew across the aisle here just said, Steve Nash, you can make an argument for the Canadian being the greatest foreign player of all time.
True.
Well, you know why we don't?
Dirk from Europe.
He played well.
Because it's close enough.
You know why?
We count him.
Because Steve Nash played college basketball in the United
Santa
States.
Clara.
We don't think of him as, but I guess by the spirit of the rule, that's
Manu was pretty good.
Argument.
Yeah, I mean Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. Tim Duncan was born in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh, come on. There's Akeem. And there's another. He played at Wake Forest.
But Akeem from Lagos, Nigeria.
Akeem, that's right. Akeem Olajuwon.
But Houston.
Well, it's going to be a great argument in probably about 5 to 10 years. The greatest Canadian basketball player. A lot of really good Canadian.
It sure
players.
is.
Are you? Is that an early campaign for Dylan Brooks? Is that what we're doing here?
No, I'm not going Dylan Brooks, but you look at a lot of these players and you don't realize because they played their college ball in the United States.
Andrew Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins.
Well, we got Brandon Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that will be a very interesting conversation somewhere down the road. Best basketball players. Right now, Nash has it, I think, in a runaway.
So 19th opening night tomorrow night for the Grizzlies. How many for you, Pete? Your first opening night here was the year the building opened in 2004?
Right. So this is 16 for me in Memphis.
How good do you think this team can be? I know the fans are going to have to be patient, and we've seen nice pieces. The three young guys, awfully nice. We know for sure. You're going to throw a Dylan Brooks in there, and you're going to throw Valanciunas in there for sure. What do you think? A guy who's been doing these games and other teams too for as long as you have, a realistic expectation by fans?
I think a realistic expectation is to be in the upper 20s in terms of wins. I think more than anything else, and this is something that Taylor Jenkins had alluded to, is that you are going to be evaluating this year on more than wins and losses. Is this team going to continue to improve? Is this going to be a team that, the West, in the bottom half of the West, the competition for the 7 and 8 seed, I think is going to be pretty intense.
Yeah.
You would want the Grizzlies to be a team that, I don't know. You say Portland is battling for an 8 seed. Portland doesn't want to come to Memphis. Portland doesn't want to play Memphis because they're just dangerous enough to ruin your season by knocking you out of the playoffs. Yeah. Can you be that proverbial tough out? And I think you want to see that. You want to see competitive spirit for 82 games. And you want to see continual improvement from everybody, and you want to see cohesion throughout the year. This is a very young group. They're still learning each other, trying to figure out everybody's tendencies. Taylor Jenkins is, the playbook isn't huge at this particular point, and just trying to figure it all out because there's so many things here that are new and different that it is going to take some time. And I equate this to what Brett Brown had in Philadelphia. I'm not going to go full Sam Hinkie and say trust the process,
yeah,
but
right.
The talent level that Memphis has at this point is greater than what Philadelphia had at that point. But you just need to commit to, look, this is what we are trying to do. Some of these players are going to be hits, some are going to be misses. And you just have to work through that process and figure out how all these pieces fit together. And to have a knee-jerk reaction in any way, shape, or form, Taylor Jenkins or the moves that were made in the offseason, it's pointless at this point. I think, let's get 20 games in and figure out exactly where we are, and hopefully the guys will remain healthy because that's been an issue for the Grizzlies for the last few years.
No doubt, and I think that process really does take a while. It didn't. Look at how long it took for Philadelphia. So you do have to have a certain amount of patience if you are a fan. When it comes to Taylor Jenkins, and you've seen young coaches come, you've seen some go. How long do you think it takes for a guy, even if he's had great role models like he has in Milwaukee and Atlanta with his buddy Buttinger, like he did with Pop at San Antonio, because he's on that tree too. How long do you think it takes for a guy to really sort of figure it out and be comfortable doing all the things that sort of come naturally after a while for a head coach?
I would say, not having been a head coach myself, I would say you've got to go through a full season to really figure out the arcs, the ups, the downs, the miniature dramas that will ultimately crop up, and they're unavoidable. I mean, there are going to be, bits of drama, bits of disagreement, heated conversations, anger over officials' calls, anger over an off-the-court incident maybe from a player or what have you. So, I think you just have to go through the whole season to figure out, okay, how do I pace myself over 82 games? Taylor Jenkins is supremely organized and detail-oriented. Okay, can he maintain that level of detail for 82 games and engage the players that they don't get to a point where they're like, why are we worried about this in game 75? Just to go through that whole process and to see what works, what doesn't work. And I mean, you guys know in our business, and Wolo, when you prepare for a game, your spotters charts probably have evolved from year to year to year from what you thought was important 5 years ago, and now 5 years later, well, no, I don't think that's important. And so it's an evolution and it's a process. And the only way that you get better at anything, Malcolm Gladwell talks about the 10,000 hours that you have to put into doing something in order to be good at it.
Right.
And
muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly. So if you the more you do it, the better you're going to be at it. And I think that it's going to be a year or two, probably a year before he fully finds his voice as an NBA head coach. And you're kind of you're kind of on coltish legs. You're a little wobbly, not because he's not capable, not because he's won't be a good coach, but you're just trying to figure out what you know
takes time
and what you don't know and how you figure that all out.
Pete, I saw this one today, and I saved it for you. Is at a site called Stats by Stats on Twitter, and this is a great note. The health of the league is unarguably very, very, very good. Tonight, reigning MVP Giannis and the Bucks open their season against the 17-18 MVP James Harden. The last time a reigning MVP opened the season against the previous year MVP, 1965, Bill Russell against Oscar Robertson.
Wow. Somebody in the scheduling department must have thought they thought that one through. I don't know unless the computer spit it out.
How long did that take them, if it was human, to figure out?
That would have to be a tough one. That was Cincinnati Royals for Big O.
Oh, wow. That's a long time ago. League's a lot different now, no doubt. Pete, as always, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Pete. Have a great season.
Have fun tomorrow night.
Oh, we will. We won't be in black tie, but we will have fun.
You got it.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. That's Pete Pranica, the voice on television of your Memphis Grizzlies. Our title sponsor for this hour of the program is Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where the product is so good, they assure you to this tune. 10 years, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every new car. That would include my Santa Fe, the best car I've ever owned. That could be the new Palisade. That's an 8-seater if you want it to be. Bigger SUV than my Santa Fe. And that is one I may have one day because I've got my eyes sort of on it. Now, there's the Genesis cars, and they're going to be doing even more of those and making the dealership even bigger, separate entrances for the Genesis cars. They get the G70 there. Right now, it looks like it comes out of a James Bond movie. It is that cool a car. And then there's the services that goes with it. There's an assurance for shoppers. Ask Chris True, the GM, about that. That's his baby. Full of assurance, full of new technology that makes these cars so safe, and they seem to last forever. Go see the way car business should be done. Just get on Highway 78, it's Lamar. When you get to Mississippi Craft Road, first exit, turn left, you'll have arrived. You'll have arrived at a place you're going to love. It's called Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Darn it, I wanted to bring up with Pete. Have you caught Ivan Maisel in the ESPN 150 series yet on just Notre Dame? And I wanted to bring
I did not hear the Notre Dame one. Yeah, Pete would have loved that.
Must watch, everybody. I mean, must watch. Whether you love them or sports hate them, whatever. I mostly love.
So they got to go back, obviously, to.
Oh, it goes back to day one. It goes back
really.
To.
So that would be pre-Newt Rockne.
But the part about Rockne and his death, and in that, I can't remember what journalist said. Might have been Ivan, that was the first big celebrity aircraft death in our country. The breaking news of killed in a plane crash. Right. The great one, Rockne. And it was so well done.
Did they do anything with the Gipper speech?
Showed Ronald Reagan, and of course
it did.
And just how highlighted Notre Dame has been in cinematography.
Oh yeah,
through the years. And I texted Ivan Maisel during it, and him being a proud Mobile boy and growing up a big Alabama football fan, I said, "Boy, you just nailed it on this Notre Dame series." But Tom Clements completes that pass every single time.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time.
He went to high school with my good buddy from college. Yeah. And Tommy Clements was a heck of a guy in a lot of different ways. I did see, speaking of Notre Dame, they did this thing on Grantland Rice. Have you seen that on the Voices of College Football?
Wasn't it great?
And the Grantland Rice one, he was the one that gave the nickname the Four Horsemen and did a lot. He was the first one to sort of make mythical giants out of the characters, the personalities of college football is very cool for sure. We got to take a break. We'll be back in just a minute. When we do, we talk to Shield. We talk about it with our friend Russell Copeland. He's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. We have exciting news. All premium members of ATC Fitness now have access to our newly added hydro massage lounges. That's right, for only $25 a month, you'll have access to all 18 state-of-the-art facilities, access to tanning, and now access to the best massage unit on the market. Come in today and relax with a free demo. You deserve it. Don't forget, you can also sign up online. ATCFitness.com. ATC Fitness, exercise your right to look good.
If it's time for a new gun, rifle, or silencer, Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville on Highway 72 is the best place to go. I promise they have the newest, most exciting selection of guns and silencers you could ever want. I don't care if you shoot for fun, hunt, or just need a gun for personal protection, Tactical Guns and Gear has the best selection of firearms around. The only one-stop silencer shop in Tennessee. In less than 10 minutes, they do all the paperwork. Take your photo, originate gun trust, take your prints electronically, and the best part, you never have to scan them again. Yes, silencers are legal. No special licensing, just a simple background check. Silencers don't make your firearms silent. They simply reduce noise for more enjoyable shooting, help protect against hearing loss, reduce recoil. It makes you more accurate. Best silencer place in the entire state of Tennessee, right here in Collierville. For all things guns and gear, ask for Jake or Jim at Tactical Guns and Gear on Highway 72 and tell them Eli says hi. Online at tacticalgunsandgear.com.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Did you notice your water heater not heating as well last winter? During the cold winter months, the groundwater is colder and requires more energy to heat the water, and sometimes old, inefficient tanked water heaters just can't keep up. It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. Conway Services is making now the perfect time for a new tankless water heater with 24 months to pay, interest-free. Or I'll pay you $250 for that old tanked water heater. Plus, these energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
The people have spoken.
About what?
What do you think?
Well, you're here, so it must be Central Barbecue.
Central Barbecue, the Memphis Most Awards from the Commercial Appeal.
Let me guess. Best barbecue?
Best barbecue, best barbecue sandwich, best ribs.
Impressive.
But wait, there's more. The Memphis Flyer Best of Awards.
Best barbecue?
Best barbecue, best ribs.
This all seems very familiar.
That's because it happens every year. Central Barbecue is always Memphis' favorite in all things barbecue.
I meant this copy seems familiar.
Oh, it's pretty much the same spot from last year.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in as we cruise through our second hour. Russell Copeland's going to join us in a minute. He just taught in football with him as a treat. It's like as sweet as Dinstall's candy or Dinstall's caramel, because now we're in fall. You can still get a lot of the great things, like my favorite, the Cashew Crunch. You can get any of the Brittles, the Heavenly Hash, all that stuff.
Be the most popular house at Halloween by going to Dinstall's.
You think I should do that?
Oh, yeah.
What should I give?
The
Cashew Crunch? See, but
caramel apples.
Caramel apples. Ooh.
That's Halloween.
Ooh.
Don't go bobbing for apples. Go to Dinstall's.
You're trying to break my bank? It's worth it.
Drew and I come busting in. We're going to break it. Halloween night.
Well, you can get the apples because they're there. You can also get the caramel corn. That's a little underrated. People don't realize how good the caramel corn is at Dinsel's. But you're right. And you know what the caramel apples? You get it three ways. You can get the old conservative. You're probably a conservative guy. Just the caramel. Just the caramel. Or you could go a little crazier and get it with the pecans. That's kind of the way I like it. Or you can go crazy, folks. Go crazy. And you can do a little bit of a chocolate drizzle on the caramel, on the pecans. You know what they call that, don't you? That's the turtlet.
I had cherry one year from Denstall. It was great.
Oh, I've never had the cherry apple. Well, the apples are always fresh, too, because that's how they do it. Only fresh fruit goes into any of the candy with Dinstall's. And we've got 4 locations, ladies and gentlemen, where they make them on Pleasant View. And Santa's going to be there in a couple of months. You know that. Then, of course, there's the one in my neighborhood in Laurelwood. There is the one that is in Germantown, straight down Poplar, Germantown Road, boom, right across from the hospital, that little strip center there. Can't miss it. And then go a little further east for store number 4. That's in Collierville, where they're making things sweet there. Dinstall's. It's fall time. What a great time to go to Dinstall's. Our friend Russell Copeland joins us every week in this time slot to talk a little National Football League. Russell, I couldn't help but notice this, and this is really rare company. If Bill Belichick wins over Cleveland, and I assume he will on Sunday afternoon at the late America's game at 3:25, it'll be his 300th win. There's only 2 other coaches that have more wins. George Halas, Papa Bear, at 324, and the great Don Shula, who is still alive. He's got to be, 93, 94, somewhere like that. Don Shula's got 347, and number 3 is Bill. We're watching a guy who truly is as good as it gets.
Especially, Dave, when you look at how his career started off, ironically, with the Browns. But what he's been able to do since he joined the New England Patriots along with Tom Brady has just been superb. This is definitely a great dynasty. And what I love about what Bill has been able to do is that he has made all of the players buy into this culture. And this culture is just do your job and just play. And when you look at it, that's exactly what they do. If they lose coaches, they fill in their coaches. They lose their players, they fill in their players. Tom Brady goes down with suspensions, injury. Another quarterback comes in. They ship him off. That's just a great culture, and they're playing great right now. And when I look at the New England Patriots, what's different for me is that how well their defense is playing, not only from a scheme standpoint, but they have a lot of ability, and he's hands-on. And right now, they're definitely clear favorites to win another championship.
Tonight we got a football game. Minnesota at home.
Huge favorites.
Against it. These are beginning to look like college lines when you got Miami and Washington involved here. 16-point favorite, the Minnesota Vikings. And honestly, Minnesota's got to win to keep pace with the Green Bay Packers. It looks more and more like the Bears and the Lions are pretenders. And even though, Russell, you assured me the Bears were going to win last week, I didn't think even you realized what a pretender Matt Nagy is.
We'll definitely get to the Bears in a few seconds, but just look at tonight's matchup. As you mentioned, the Redskins or either the Dolphins are playing as huge favorites, but I think the storylines, Dave and Brett, may be bigger than actually the matchup. You look at Adrian Peterson; he's going back to Minnesota, the all-time leading rusher. And Case Keenum, and especially when you look at Case Keenum, because in 2017 he led this Vikings team to an NFC championship, and to me it was one of the biggest plays at the end of the game that I can remember, and I think it's looked at now as the Minneapolis Miracle when he passes to Stephon Diggs with no seconds left on the clock to beat the Saints. And then you look at Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was drafted by the Redskins behind Griffin. He comes in, he starts, has 99 touchdowns, pretty much over 57 starts, and now he's penciled in as the Vikings when Case Keenum takes them to the championship, and ownership says, hey, we're one position, the quarterback position, from winning the championship. And I think he started off this year pretty much like Kirk Cousins does. He's up and down, and he took a lot of criticism. But, guys, these numbers here, since he has taken that criticism pretty much from his teammates, he has 142 passer rating, which 158 is perfect over the past 3 games, 10 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. And right now he's playing as if he is the player that can lead them to a championship.
And with tonight's game and concluding with the Monday night game, Dolphins at Steelers, 5 NFL games with double-digit favorites. Russell, it just not supposed to be this big of favorites because this league is supposed to be, same pie of money.
On any given Sunday.
Yeah, every building's the same. It's not like, one team's got Alabama facilities and another one's got, Abilene Christian facilities.
Well, I think, guys, when you look at the parity, I think overall the parity has been there. But when you look at these two particular teams that we're talking about, are actually three. The Cincinnati Bengals, they haven't won a game. The Dolphins haven't won a game. The Jets aren't playing very well. And the Redskins. If you take those four teams out of the equation, if you look at every single game, everyone has pretty much been in the games. They've won some games. They've defeated some teams. You look at Arizona. Arizona has played well. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are playing up and down, but now they're coming back. You look at how the Rams, they started off, we thought was going to be a great team. They've fallen off a little bit. You look at the 49ers. Look how the 49ers have come out of nowhere to win that division. You look at the Buffalo Bills. They're right behind the New England Patriots. So there has been some parity. If you throw away those four teams, it pretty much has been very competitive.
Sunday, December 22nd, something's going to give. Bengals at Dolphins.
But I will say this: it is a weird year this way. How could the Dallas Cowboys be so bad against the New York Jets?
Mostly injuries. They did have a lot of guys out there today.
And then turn around and do what they did yesterday to the Eagles, which does sort of, or not yesterday, on Sunday to the Eagles, and then what the way the Bears played. Against the New Orleans Saints team that was without their quarterback, their running back, and their tight end, and the defense looked terrible. I mean, I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's just because there's so much parity that you can't do it every week. I don't know what it is, but it's already sort of an odd year.
Definitely, Dave. And I think you pointed it out. I think it does start with your coaches, but your players have to go out and play. And you mentioned the Dallas Cowboys losing to the Jets, and then you look at how the Jets looked terrible against the New England Patriots. And we talked about Bill Belichick, and I'm going to just talk about the coaching for a second. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, when they look at Sam Darnold, they say, hey, can you physically beat him? Their game plan was pretty much, are you good enough physically to beat him? And he showed them that he was physically able to beat them as far as looking at, a regular 4-3, looking at man-to-man coverage. But when you look at Bill Belichick says, okay, you're an overall first draft pick, but let me see what you have in between the ears. I know what you can do physically, but can you do it physically if I do certain blitz, if I use certain schemes? And if you look at that football game, they ran basically two coverages, and those two coverages were based off zero coverage with different fronts and different blitzes off that coverage. And zero coverage is where you don't have a safety. But they ran so many different looks that Sam Darnold simply did not know where the blitz was coming from. He didn't know what the front was looking like because they was dropping back. That's the difference when I say philosophy and coaching. Your game plan has to be a game plan for that particular week, and I think that's the difference. Do you have the personnel to be able to run the game plan that you need for that particular week against that particular team?
San Francisco, undefeated. They play the Panthers on Sunday. Kyle Allen's going to start for the Panthers. He's 5-0 in his first 5 NFL starts. The last non-drafted quarterback to start 5-0 was Kurt Warner. Cam Newton's 0-8 in his last 8 starts. When Cam Newton gets well, if Kyle Allen keeps winning, who's the quarterback of the Panthers, Russell?
Well, I think you have to look at the 4 games, actually, that Kyle Allen has won the game. And when I look at what Cam Newton has been able to do for this franchise, he's been the face of this franchise for the past 9 or 10 years, what he's been able to do in the community. I think all that comes to play. But when you're looking at X's and O's, he's 0-9. He has not won any important games. He has not really been significant since the loss or the Super Bowl year. He was the MVP 3 years ago. I think you continue to stay with the hot hand. I think you take Kyle Allen, who is running this Norv Turner offense. This is a Norv Turner offense. This is an offensive coordinator that's been proven. He's won championships. He's won Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys. And as far as athletic ability, there's no question who has the better athletic ability. But as far as running the system and running the system the way it's supposed to be, it's Kyle Allen, and I will stay with the hot hand. As long as he's winning, I stay with that hot hand.
Big game. Green Bay, Kansas City in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, dislocated knee and all, was actually practicing yesterday. I have no idea if he'll play in the game. It would certainly, I know, make, I guess that's Sunday Night Football, right? That would make Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth really, really happy in the Peacock Network. Really, really happy if Mahomes were able to play. If it's more, though, that may be a different story. Green Bay appears to be, especially as long as Drew Brees is out in New Orleans, Green Bay appears to be the class of the NFC. What happens in that game, and do you think that Mahomes really could play in this thing?
I'm on the fence with this one simply because if Patrick Mahomes plays or he doesn't. If Patrick Mahomes is able to play, I'm going to go ahead and say I think they win football game because they've lost twice. When I look at the Green Bay Packers, what they've been able to do, they've had to come back from wins. Aaron Rodgers has had to throw perfect games. He's had to wheel them back, so to speak, in victory. Patrick Mahomes, 80%, 75%. If you can protect him, he can throw the football from so many different angles. He's getting his wide receivers back. Now he has all the weapons that he needs. He's running the football a little bit better. He has Shady McCoy. If he can come back and play, I pick the Chiefs. If he does not play, I don't think it'll be close to Patrick's win.
And we always talk about Tom Brady, but maybe we need to talk more about Aaron Rodgers based on his perfect rating last week. And yeah, I think he actually has had the tougher schedule than Tom Brady so far this year.
In first year with a new coach.
Yeah. How are you grading Mr. Rodgers these days?
You know, I've always been a fan of Aaron Rodgers, and you guys know that. But, you know, what I love about great players, and especially at the quarterback position, no matter who's out or who's in, you're always a leader, and you find a way to win. And he's just played superb. When you lose Devontae Adams, his number one wide receiver, you lose Geronimo Allison before halftime with a concussion. You go to Marquez Scantling. You come back, you hit your tight ends. You have a good running game, and you come back and you win that tough football game against the Detroit Lions. He's been playing superb, and once he gets everyone back and they can continue to protect him, this is going to be a dangerous football team. But I still say the best team that's in the NFC, in my opinion, is the New Orleans Saints. Anytime you can come and win with a backup quarterback and not have Drew Brees, and your quarterback can come and win 5 games, that's saying a whole lot, and that goes out to your coaching staff, and what a tremendous job that Sean Payton is doing with the Saints.
And what is that doing for Teddy Bridgewater, by the way? Because I believe he's a free agent after this year.
Doesn't hurt him.
He's got to be helping himself, right?
But seriously, Russell, the first person that tries to be the hot take artist and say the Saints need to stay with Teddy Bridgewater, no.
There's not anybody going to say that.
Oh, don't rule out Skip Bayless.
Well, before it's over with, I'm sure someone will say that because he's undefeated, especially Dave, if they lose, if Drew Brees come back, and I'm hearing that Drew Brees is trying to play this game. But at the end of the day, Teddy Bridgewater has pretty much done what he was able to do last year. He was a free agent, and he had some offers. He had an offer from the Dolphins. He said, you know what, you guys, I don't think I want the Dolphins. I'm going to go back and sit behind Drew Brees. It's going to be interesting to see what team throws a lot of money. If a team throws $60 million, $40 million guaranteed, $70 million, $35 million guaranteed, he may leave. But I think the best situation for him is to sit behind Drew Brees for another year and then take over this thing. But what he's proven is that he's come back from a terrible injury, and he's playing terrific.
And who wouldn't want to play for Sean Payton, it seems, with that scheme.
Pretty good
that
quarterback
is for sure.
coach.
And then last thing, because there is another undefeated quarterback, and that's Jimmy G. I hope you guys are giving
16-2 as a starter.
I
Dave.
hope that you're giving him his due.
16-2
that's all
as a
I
starter.
want to say.
Hey, guys, I tell you what, the past couple of weeks, I did not think that this team was for real.
Me either.
And even though good teams find a way to win. And last week, they played against the Redskins, and it was a tsunami, and they were able to win that football game 9-0. And I think they have the ingredients to go a long way because they have 3 guys that can run the football. They can put pressure on the quarterback. They have a good secondary that's playing on the backside, and Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to be able to play better in some big games in order to lead them to an NFC championship. But right now, they just traded for Emmanuel Sanders. That will get him some more help at the wide receiver position. But right now, they're 6-0, so I have to say this team is surreal. Up to this point, they've proved me wrong the past couple of weeks, and they're playing great football. I like them to win their game against the Panthers. I think it'll be a tough game, but I like the Niners.
He's Russell Copeland, our guy in the NFL. Thank you, Russell. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
We got to take a break. I'll let you know this portion of the show brought to you by Campbell Clinic. Have you been told maybe because you're tired of joint pain that it's time? Hip, knee, shoulder, you can get it replaced, but you can't seem to get there. You're worried about the recovery process. You don't like going to the hospital. I don't blame you. You don't think you're able to get back to the place you were before the surgery. You will. Put joint pain on the sideline. Call my guys, the joint experts at Campbell. They now do same hip and knee replacement in 2 different surgery centers. You literally walk in with pain at 7 a.m., you're home feeling better in time for lunch. It's as easy as that. And then you recover in the comforts of your home. You're actually back on a golf course, in your garden, in a gym, playing with grandkids. You're back that quickly. A few weeks, that's it. Now, I've never heard of anybody who had it done that said they regretted getting their hip or their knee replaced by the doctors at Campbell Clinic. In fact, what they usually say is, why didn't I do this a couple of years earlier? Campbell Clinic's got 5 locations now to end your nagging joint pain once and for all. Call 759-3111 or schedule an appointment online at campbellclinic.com. I'm going to slip away. Brett's still got plenty more coming your way, including Greg Gaston and Tim Doolin. I will see you at FedEx Forum when the Tigers take on CBU. First exhibition game a little bit later tonight. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
What comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner.
Are y'all gearing up at the Rendezvous for the holiday season?
We've got ribs, shoulders, nacho boxes. We're stacking them high. The elves are working hard getting ready for the Christmas season. You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
It's car buying time now during Wolf Chase Nissan's Summer Savings Event. More cars, better offers, and bigger savings than ever before. Model year-end savings on every new 2019 Nissan in stock. Financing as low as 0% up to 60 months on select models for qualified buyers with approved credit through NMAC. Hurry in for exciting summer savings. And remember, if your car says Wolf Chase Nissan, you got the best deal. WolfChaseNissan.com.
Pop Wigington has been in the restaurant business since the 70s and has now brought 3 generations of family favorites together under one roof at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's takes you back to a simpler time when food and life was more wholesome. Settle down today for lunch or dinner at Pop's with daily specials like country fried steak, fried catfish, chicken and dumplings, or Pop's famous fried chicken livers, all served up with your choice of 23 fresh vegetables like field peas and snaps, seasoned green beans, sweet corn and turnip greens. Hungry for a sandwich? Check out the Chuck, a hand-patted cheeseburger between 2 grilled cheese buns topped with lettuce, tomato, diced onion, pickles, fried egg, and bacon. Or a half-pound flat iron steak sandwich served on Texas toast. Don't forget one of Grandma's homemade desserts like chess pie or banana pudding. Take comfort today at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's Comfort Kitchen.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshyn and Brett Norsworthy.
Germantown Commissary, big Q of the daytime at 360-8255. That's the First Bank phone line. All telephones, 67129. The First Bank text line, but 360-8255. First Bank phone line for Germantown Commissary, 6-pack of barbecue. Boy, that'd be good to have over the weekend, watching all the ball games. The question will be this one. What number will James Wiseman wear this year? And who's your favorite, that number of all time? What number will James Wiseman wear this year for the Tigers? What uniform number will he wear? And I'm going to give you a hint. He'll share it with Philip Doom Haynes. What high school did Doom Haynes go to? So give me the number that Doom Haynes and James Wiseman will wear, and what high school did Doom Haynes go to here in Memphis? Germantown Commissary, either place, the new Collierville Commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Come on, that's the easiest question ever. What number will James Wiseman wear this year? And he shares it with Doom Haynes. Memphis-style barbecue and ribs, delicious and authentic Memphis-style great food. Begin your barbecue feast with some great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos. The smoked chicken wings are fantastic to be watching games and enjoying with family and friends. Also, time to start telling people, get your order in now for the 36-hour bird for Thanksgiving and for the holiday season coming up in December. You can dig into the ribs of the barbecue shoulder at the commissary, get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich, on a plate, a big sandwich. You can just get it on the plate. Comes with beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread as well. You can even order it by the pound or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. We're giving away a 6-pack of barbecue right now, and it's the easiest question ever. The Boss Man salad, the chicken plate, or the barbecue shrimp, and wrap it all up with the best lemon icebox pie anywhere. Terrific banana pudding as well. 754-5540. Online at commissarybarbecue.com in Collierville. And Germantown, great party areas at the new place in Collierville. Orders to go, catering, tailgating, and again, always time to get your order in for the 36-hour holiday bird. The Germantown and Collierville Commissary, Walker Taylor, has done it the right way with the Memphis-style barbecue at both places. I'm going to go first to Linda. Linda, what number will James Wiseman wear? And he'll share it with Philip Doom Haynes and what was Doom's high school. Good afternoon, Linda.
Hi, is it 32?
32 is correct, and Doom Haynes High School was?
Oh, I didn't know that was part of the question.
You're going to get it. You're going to get it. It was Northside High School. It was.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Hey, hang on, Linda. I got to put you on hold for you to get everything to Drew and get all the particulars in. Thank you to everyone that called. Doom Haynes, Northside Cougar, and he was one good player. James Wiseman wearing number 32. I don't know if it'll be evocative of Doom Haynes. They're far different players and different role, but he may get out there and have some bank shots in for some big shots as the season rolls on. So first look at the Tigers tonight. I think everybody's excited. You're going downtown, aren't you? You're looking forward to it.
Yes, I am.
I'm gonna make my first appearance at the South Carolina State game on Tuesday night, November 5th, the opening of college basketball. It's really early for college basketball to be starting. You can get that media guide out. Do you have a Tiger basketball media guide close by?
It's in my backpack. Let me find it.
Okay, get it out and you verify this. I'm going to say most of the 70s, opening night in college basketball was around November 30th, November 29th or so, December 1st. And, boy, we got earlier and earlier. And then they kicked it back a few years, and they didn't want it to start as early. And now we've really kind of gone the other way with it, with starting super early on Tuesday, November 5th, with everybody getting going. So that made the exhibition games, the practice games, like against CBU and Lemoyne, move up really early. Give me 1972-73. So that was a Final Four year for the Tigers. Opening night in 72-73 was what night, Drew?
December 2nd.
December 2nd, yeah. And I'm going to say go to 1965 opening night, because I think it was the home opener for the Tigers, and that day in the first year of Liberty Bowl Stadium was the famous Tennessee-UCLA football game being played that afternoon, and then that night was a Tigers basketball game at the Coliseum. Give me a date. December
2nd.
December 2nd, yeah. I mean, we start really, really late. I'm glad we're starting early. It doesn't bother me.
I don't mind it. I mean, we also play – I think we play more games nowadays, don't we?
Play more games. Used to, kind of the standard was 26, and there wasn't much deviation from that, even if you were – and it wasn't many of these tournaments. It was certainly nothing like this onslaught of tournaments we have now. You know, used to kind of the only really holiday tournament No, it wasn't the only one because there was the ECAC tournament in New York and very famous Winston Tire Classic in Los Angeles once that the Tigers participated in. But really the Rainbow Classic, or was that? Yeah, that was what it was called. That was about the only one out there. Now everybody's got a tournament, which is fine. More college basketball. Linda the winner. How about that? Glad for Linda. Way to go, Linda. You got all her particulars?
I got her set off and ready to go.
I got to get your certificate to you. Did you tell her she can get it tomorrow?
Told her to pick it up in the next 30 days.
Very good. When we come back, we'll start hour 3. We visit with Greg Gasson on Tigers football. We'll get in a little Tiger basketball talk with Greg as well. Loved he and Eli's conversation today with Harold Grader about this weekend's games and just kind of the mindset of a 19, 20, and 21-year-old. We see it on display every weekend in college football, and I think we could again this weekend. Of Tigers better be ready for Tulsa. That's next. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 87.7 and 96.1.
Folks, good news for bargain hunters and bandits from the Chevy Sheriff in Collierville. Sunrise Chevy has over 500 Chevys and used cars in stock just in time for the Sunrise Low Price Rodeo. Factory rebates up to $5,000, Sunrise discounts high as $8,000, and don't forget, Sunrise specializes in secondary financing. Need a good body shop? Bring it to Sunrise. We work on all makes and models. Remember, you can bring your Chevy to Sunrise for service no matter where you bought. Buy American and buy from Sunrise. There's always a sale at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch. Find new roads to 385 in Houston, Levy, and Collierville. Chevys cost less at Sunrise, partner.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a Thursday Night Football preview. Coming up from Minneapolis, Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings play host to Adrian Peterson and the Washington Redskins. Head coach Mike Zimmer's Vikings are 5-2 and on a 3-game win streak.
I thought Kirk had a heck of a ball game, made some great throws. Defensively, we had way too many penalties, and I obviously didn't do a good enough job preparing him for some of the passing game. So we got to clean that up, get ready in a short week. But it was a darn good win on the road. We keep finding ways to win, different ways to win, and that's important for us.
Washington fell to the 49ers last week. Mike Tirico and Tony Baselli will have the call of the Redskins at the Vikings on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
At AutoZone, it's never been easier to start your job. Just visit AutoZone.com. With our free same-day store pickup, you can grab the part today. And with our free next-day delivery, you can have it delivered tomorrow. So no matter the job, you can get it done in no time. And now's the time to replace your wipers and make sure you can see the road crystal clear. Get a $10 AutoZone gift card by mail when you buy 2 Bosch Icon wiper blades. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders over $35. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hi there, Saver. Looking for a Medicare plan to help you save on more than just prescriptions? Medicare Advantage plans may offer prescription drug, medical, and hospital coverage. Walgreens is a preferred network pharmacy with many Medicare Advantage plans, including United Healthcare. So, when you enroll in a plan with Walgreens as your preferred pharmacy, you know you're saving smartly. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Other plans may be accepted.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical, not for sale to minors. Website restricted to adults 21 and over.
I'd been smoking for a while. I tried vaping when it first came out. It just didn't work for me. But recently, I tried My Blue, and it actually gave me the nicotine satisfaction I was looking for. My Blue is easy to use, and it lasts all day. I even like having the different flavors and nicotine options. It's nice having a choice. I think other smokers will be surprised by My Blue. I certainly was.
And right now, try My Blue for $1 at select retailers or myblue.com.
Hi, folks. Rob Walker, Infiniti of Memphis, and we've got a new Infiniti crossover vehicle that has raised the standard of comparison to a new level. Imagine having both sports car performance and eco-friendly efficiency on demand, working together to empower every driving experience. The result of 20 years of engineering, QX50's award-winning variable compression turbo engine is the world's only engine of its kind. Like two engines in one, it delivers a combination of power and efficiency that is truly in a category all its own, and only Infiniti has it. You'll never sacrifice performance for the sake of efficiency again. And the new QX50 offers more horsepower than its Audi, Lexus, and Mercedes competitors. Add to that QX50's award-winning sumptuous interior, and you have the best combination of performance and comfort in the mid-size crossover segment.
Infinity of Memphis and online at infinityofmemphis.com.
If you're an outdoorsman and love all things hunting and fishing, be sure to listen to Sports 56 Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. for Outdoors Today. Brought to you by The Gun Store, 6920 Winchester in Memphis. Outdoors Today is a one-hour show hosted by veteran Mark Tobin and a group of respected outdoor-loving guests. Outdoors Today is dedicated to bringing outdoorsmen tips and techniques and tactics to help with your hunting and fishing in all seasons. Saturday mornings at 6 on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1 FM.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We busy with the deal, we get insane.
Dave on his way to FedEx Forum, where he will be courtside calling all of the action tonight and all season long for the Memphis Tigers 2019-2020 basketball season. That is it is the most anticipated Tiger basketball season that I can ever remember. I think it's bigger than 07-08 because it'd been there a few years running with John Calipari. Now, after this long wait, and with Coach Penny Hardaway at the helm, hometown done really well hero. I think everybody looking very forward to this season. This hour brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales, where they specialize in late model cars with low mileage, very high standards at DeSoto Auto Sales. All the cars test driven, checked out head to toe, bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, DeSoto Auto Sales, they'll go out and find it for you. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees with a laid-back, down-home environment, but they do make you this promise. They know we're living in a world today that time matters, and they want you to have the ultimate car experience where you walk in, test drive your car, deal with your sales rep, credit approved, paperwork done, all in about 45 minutes. Go online to DeSotoAutoSales.com and check out all the referrals. 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. We talk Tiger football with Greg Gaston, sideline reporter for the Tigers, and on Saturday, away game, Greg will not be there, but he's been there all year at home, and last Saturday at home, he got one of the epic performances ever. Greg, I know, especially at our ages, and we've gone to a lot of sports, we like to go see history made. We want to see something that we may never see again in our lives, and we haven't ever seen before. You saw it in the Kenneth Gainwell performance, Greg.
Kenneth Gainwell has been a godsend to Tigers fans and people covering the Tigers. But for Mike Norvell, I can't say that he knew he would get a guy who could produce 200 receiving and 100 rushing yards in the same game. But he knew he had a gem, Brett. He knew what he was doing when he was recruiting him. And he has really come through big time, especially with the injury to Patrick Taylor. Who knows how much of an opportunity he would have gotten some, but who knows how much of an opportunity if Taylor had stayed healthy. And now if you get Taylor back, and that's a big question, if you get him back, you have now another guy who certainly can do some damage to go along with Gainwell, who has made his presence felt.
And isn't that supposed to be what coaching and recruiting is really all about? Because most of the 4s and the 5 stars, all the big boys, all the predictable names are out there recruiting them. But when you get down to it and you find a high school quarterback, and Mike Norvell did know, he knew he was sitting on something special, that he had one, and he does. And that's what it's all about is finding the player that somebody else passed on and you win with him.
Boy, that's a great point, Brett, because you do have big-time recruiters who recruit for big-time programs, and you could say, well, anybody could do that. No, they got to close the deal so they're still at the top of their game. But you're talking about coaches and members of a coaching staff for smaller schools, when I say smaller, I'm talking about group of 5. They're still big-time football programs.
Budget
but they
constraint
do have
place.
to find.
Yeah,
exactly, budget restraints. But you have to find the diamonds in the rough, and you have to look for guys that are possibly 3 stars that could end up being, when it's all said and done, 5 stars. So you are looking for that diamond in the rough, and Mike Norvell has been tremendous in finding those players that can help elevate his team to the next level.
I love what Justin Fuente used to say when asked about the stars and recruiting. And look, we all know that when you got to Notre Dame, you got to USC, Florida and Alabama and Texas. Of course, it's kind of self-perpetuating. It's a lot easier. But Justin Fuente used to say, I like what my linebacker coach says about linebackers recruiting more than a recruiting analyst says about them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the coaches normally played the game in most instances, and a lot of them at a high level. They know what they're looking for. They know the type of player that player is, as opposed to scout. And I'm not talking about scouting services as not knowing anything. Of course they do. But you have to be very careful with them because they do miss. They don't always nail it. Whereas, and coaches don't always get it right. But I would rely more heavily on a coach and their expertise than I would a service and a number or a star next to the player's name.
Every single time. Greg, last Saturday, Brady White really answered a lot of critics. I think probably clammed up a lot of critics.
Well, we didn't get any negative reaction on Monday on my midday show, as you would expect with Eli. We thought that we'd probably go unscathed, and we did after that tremendous performance. And what it shows you is if you give Brady White some time to throw the football, he's normally going to make the right read. He's going to throw it to the right guy. He's going to put it on the number. He has a chance to be successful. And that offensive line, they get all the credit in the world. That was their best performance. It allowed Mike Norvell to throw in some different wrinkles. He went empty backfield a lot during that game. He was able to split a guy like Joey Magnifico, his fine tight end, outside or actually in the slot where he can catch a few balls as opposed to having to keep him in for extra protection for Brady White, which was the case at Temple. So you give Brady White a chance to throw the ball, and he's pretty good.
Greg, I was listening to you guys today with Harold Grader on the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Hour with y'all at middays with Eli Savoy and Greg Gaston. I was really struck by the conversation about the Wisconsin upset and the upsets we see. We haven't seen a lot of them this year, but we usually do, and there's still a lot of time left for them to happen. And the overlooking of someone, this feels like the classic trap game for the Memphis Tigers with all the game day talk and the SMU Mustangs coming to town next week. And after the revenge against Tulane and the heartbreak of the call at Temple, be careful.
It's easy to say, well, anybody could beat anybody else on any given Saturday. Yeah, to some extent. But I'm telling you, I don't think Rice is knocking off Alabama on any given Saturday. The point is that you just mentioned, well taken. There are certainly times when teams can look ahead. The coaches prepare them. They do the best they can to get them in the right mindset. And Mike Norvell was talking about it on the show today, as we have him on every week in prep for the game. And he said, look, we've done a pretty good job, but it's not always perfect, and we really have to work hard on it. And even though you feel like you've done your best to make sure that they have blinders on and they're not looking ahead to that big game the following week, sometimes players can get caught up in the social media aspect of things, the hoopla about the game day talk, and can overlook an opponent by looking at their numbers, looking at their record. It happens. We saw it a couple times last week. You're right. We haven't seen it a ton of times so far this college football season, but come on. Wisconsin goes into Illinois and loses. Missouri goes into Vanderbilt, who just got clobbered by UNLV, and loses. Texas nearly overlooked Kansas, but escaped with that win. So it does happen, and I think you're right. This is a Tulsa team. We know at home they can play and beat teams. They can upset teams. And on the road, they've done a pretty good job. They hung very tough with Cincinnati last week. They lost a triple overtime game to SMU. They're a very capable team despite a 2-5 record.
For sure. Visiting with Greg Gaston from Sports 56 Middays with Eli Savoy, right here every day from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. talking Tigers football. He's sideline reporter for the Tigers, and I know you'll be there tonight at basketball. We'll get to that momentarily. And sometimes the road game, it's a lot of times around college athletics, a little different atmosphere around the hotel can get a little loosey-goosey with the fans that are there. And, I'm not talking about any curfew violations or anything like that. That's
Right.
not as big as it used to be. That's more at bowl time that you're really sweating that, because on most road trips it's just one night away anyway. But for college football, but I think the Tigers, very important, quick start, knock Tulsa out. Do not leave that home team in it.
Oh, I agree 100%. And remember, this is a 6 o'clock game, so you're hanging around the hotel.
Yep.
You're waiting around to play this football game. Then you bus over there, and then you go through your pregame ritual. In the meantime, Tulsa slept, they got the team hotel, but they're in their city. They have their fans. It's homecoming, so it's a lot more comfortable. So, yes, it's important to throw a couple of big haymakers early. And even though it was a home game this past week against Tulane, that's exactly what they did, Brett. They were able to get a big turnover early on a great interception by Austin Hall, and it set the pace. Even though Tulane got the ball to start, as the Tigers deferred, they kicked the field goal, but the Tigers came right back and scored a touchdown. Against Temple, it was a disastrous start. So getting off to a good start, especially on the road, I think you're absolutely right about that.
All right, we're going to do what we want the Tiger football team not to do. We're going to look ahead. We're going to dream of game day, and I want it badly for the program, for around town, for people to see it and enjoy it that maybe haven't ever been able to, and there'll probably be a lot of people that haven't. I want it for my friends like you and in the media to be out there and see behind the scenes. Did you go behind the scenes when they came to Oxford in 2014? Were you part of that?
Now, there was so much going on down there, and I had just a fantastic time, but I did not go and check out the game day. I experienced everything else about that, and it was quite the day.
To watch it, the Friday afternoon media availability that you will have with the media here will have with the personalities, with Reese and Coach Corso and Kirk Herbstreit and Desmond and David Pollock and Maria Taylor, all that goes with it. It's great. I want everybody to enjoy this, but I think we have to remember this before. I know some that are pretty sure that if SMU wins this week and the Tigers win, that it will happen. I want people to slow down just a little bit and remember that in somewhere in the inner sanctum of Bristol, it is a business decision. And Greg, what I'm scared of is somebody rightfully can say, why are we going there? They had 30,000 at their last game.
There's no question. Look, I never count my chickens until we know absolutely 100% that they are committed and the trucks start to roll in to Memphis for the production. So even though it feels pretty good, and again, it's taking care of business, like you said, at Tulsa, and of course SMU winning tonight against Houston, I feel pretty good that it'll happen, but by no means do I think this is any type of a done deal. But what it would mean for this community, we've seen basketball. We've seen the big-time contests in basketball, the 1 versus 2, the national attention. It just doesn't happen in football. To have this occur would be monumental for this football program. And I think another thing is you would have a great matchup. Obviously, looking at the schedule, there's not a ton of competition. And I still think there's a factor, and his name is Penny Hardaway. And I do believe indirectly the Penny Hardaway hoopla and phenomenon that's going on right now could be a factor because basketball is here, and ESPN also does ESPN also does basketball broadcasts.
And it matters.
And Penny's going to be a big story, and Memphis is a nationally ranked team. I think with them, they're looking at, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We got a great city on the mighty Mississippi. We can play up the whole barbecue thing. We got an 8-0 versus a 7-1. The Tiger basketball team should be really, really good. And it doesn't hurt that Kirk Herbstreit lives 3 hours away in Nashville. So I think it's a possibility. But again, I'm with you, Brett. No way do I think this is a done deal until we know for sure.
Greg, that's a good point. Kind of a home game for Herbie, as Brent Musburger would always call him. Be a home game for him and for Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit to do the Saturday night game. Not only are we saving jet fuel money, all ESPN to do is pay him 58 cents a mile, the IRS standard. I mean, they're making all kind of money, aren't they?
They are. They're making out on the deal.
It would be so much fun. And another thing that I thought hurt And we'll know for sure late Saturday night. Look, if SMU loses tonight, I think it's scuttled. If the Tigers lost Saturday night, I think it's scuttled. But SMU win tonight, Tigers win Saturday. At some point late Saturday night from Kerry Potts and the ESPN PR team, you'll see the tweet. Memphis, we're coming your way. Looking forward to that good hospitality, and we will roll out, and it could be. It could be the biggest thing ever for Tiger football. But I was scared when they decided to go to the Dakotas this week, kind of in the let's do something different department, because that's really different.
Yeah, I thought it would be tough to come to Memphis once I heard that they were going to South Dakota State. But then when I heard the news that Memphis had been contacted and at least they're on the short list, maybe a little bit more optimistic that it could happen. Here's the thing, Brett, and this is going to happen. If the Tigers take care of business, if SMU takes care of business, Saturday night, all of a sudden you hear the news, they're going to name the other place.
Cocktail party, yeah.
Yeah, they're going somewhere else. It's going to be, once again, our great folks in Memphis, and includes all of us here. It's the world versus it's us versus the world, or us versus everybody, right?
Yeah,
that's going to come out once again, right?
It will, Greg. It very naturally it will. That's just human nature. And then after that, to heck with it, have the game and have fun with it. But I'm looking forward to seeing this. If they do come, I want to see I know the energy out there for the show itself would be big, but that Saturday night for the game in front of those cameras, we don't need a first number 3. We don't need a first number 4. It's time for a first number being 5 in attendance.
There is going to have to be, and it's a short time period to turn it around, but there's still time. It's a week. There's going to have to be a major effort from this university and maybe from local businesses or whatever it takes. The $5 ticket, it doesn't matter. Get the people into that stadium, because this is still a pet peeve of mine, and you know it. I've said it many, many times. The TV cameras they use are on the home side, and they shoot towards the visiting side, and it doesn't
flip-flop the press box. Yeah,
exactly. If it was the other way towards the press box, it looks like it's full, because most of the time it is full on that shot.
And much better.
The answer, but to echo your sentiments, yes, we need a 5. We need at least a high 4. We got a 3. It doesn't look good. And I think, again, that's a lot of pressure on the university to really come up with some ingenious ways to get those people out there for Saturday night. Hopefully Ma Nature will cooperate. But first things first, and that's ESPN giving us the green light.
That's right. That's right. And, Greg, you are a good reporter, and you've got good sources. I want you to and you may already have done it. I want you to ask around, because I know ESPN at a lot of the SEC places, when they do site surveys for the potentiality of hosting game day, they usually do it in the summertime. They really kind of come in somewhat surreptitiously and check everything out from, where they can have the stage to where they could have green room, where they can have press conference, all that stuff. I want you tonight, I know you're going to the basketball game, ask around and see if the site survey team for game day's been to town.
Okay, I will.
I know you will. All right, tonight, basketball, the first of the rock star year, and it's going to be a rock star year.
Yeah, tonight a little dress rehearsal. Penny said yesterday that everybody's available, but I'm not so sure. I'm not saying that Penny's fibbing, but I don't believe Malcolm Dandridge is going to play this year. I think he's going to be redshirted. And I would be very surprised if we saw James Wiseman for both the preseason games. So I'm thinking that either tonight or Monday night against Lemoyne Owen, he doesn't play. Why would you play him? He hasn't been 100%, right? Yeah. Why waste an opportunity there in an exhibition game for him to bang it up, and then you start the regular season and he's not 100%. Let him be 100%. If he is right now, that's fine, because I'm not privy to all that information. But just from what I've heard, that he's close but not yet there. So maybe we'll see him for a little bit tonight. Maybe we'll see him a little bit for Monday. But I would, personally, I wouldn't be hurt if James Wiseman didn't play one of those games to get him ready for the regular season.
I don't think CBU would mind it either. Tough matchup for CBU tonight.
They're hoping Wiseman, Precious, Boogie, all those guys don't play, and they still have trouble, I think, with this team. It's that talented.
It's going to be a tough night. Greg, enjoy the game tonight. We'll be listening tomorrow and into the weekend, and we appreciate your time every Thursday for sure. Thank you, Greg.
As always, thank you, Brett. Bye-bye.
You got it. Greg Gaston visiting with us on Thursday, talking Tiger football. We'll get some Tiger basketball thoughts from him for sure. For you, Drew, what are your hopes on game day? Will you be crushed if if SMU wins, Tigers win, everything lines up, and then they don't show? Will you be crushed, or to heck with it? You're going to enjoy November 2nd with or without them?
I'm going to enjoy it with or without them. The only thing that will crush me is if they do the off-site game that day.
I don't know.
They go to a James Madison or an Old Dominion.
2 weeks in a row.
That'd be the only thing that would really crush me. If they go to Jacksonville, I understand it's the world's largest cocktail party. I can wrap my head around it, even though you've already been to Florida, already been to Georgia. Florida's been on there twice, actually. It just feels like it feels like the perfect storm. And if it's not going to happen now, then it's going to make sure from now on my hopes never get up for it. Because if it's not now, it's probably never going to happen.
Yeah, well, boy, you just don't ever know. It's just like championship teams. Sometimes you think, boy, if we didn't win it with that one, we never will. And then you win it 2 or 3 years later with a different team. I don't know. Got a great text, 67129, the First Bank text line. Texter asks, do you believe Tiger fans want an SMU win tonight for game day purposes? Isn't it better when top teams in your division lose? Or just banking on
that's a tricky question,
beating them head to head, and that trumps everything else?
I think right now we're just banking on beating them head to head.
Another texter says y'all are dreaming, but I hope dreams come true. Right now, if I had to bet, I would bet they're not coming. I'm not dreaming. I'm hoping it for the University of Memphis and for town. Rising tide lifts all boats. That's what I want it for. I want it for the good publicity for Memphis, and as I said earlier, for fans to go out and them enjoy it and them see it instead of just watching it on TV. I think the best 3.5 minutes of any sports television out there today is that 10:55 to the close at 59:50, whatever their timing sheet is, and they're doing the picks with the celebrity picker. And when they're building up to Corso, I think that's the best sports TV out there.
I completely agree. And I think if Memphis does end up getting game day, I know everybody's throwing around JT, but it's probably just going to be Penny, right? And it's not like that's a bad. Good. It's not that like that's a bad thing.
And I don't care where I am, unless I'm out getting ready to start a game. But even by then, I'm kind of through. I try to get in front of the TV and see the helmet or the mascot or whatever it is, and it's about Pat. It's about cliched. It's the same look, and he does the Miss America wave,
the wave and everything. The one thing I am worried about, and some people have told me this jokingly, and some people I'm not really sure if they are joking, and I've heard it from multiple different people from other fan bases saying that if we do have game day, that they're going to show up in their school colors that have nothing to do with the game and make signs for them. And I don't know if I really like that, because I kind of want it to be a Memphis thing where it's kind of our thing and them not rain on our parade. I mean, I didn't go down to Ole Miss and try to rain on y'all's. And I feel like most of them are joking, but I'm not 100% sure.
I haven't heard that. I don't really know what that motivation would be. There's the Washington State guy,
but that's different
every week. But they've
actually going to rain on our parade and try to promote their school over ours is another thing.
I think you need to promote yours at your deal.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to tell them.
And leave the fun and festivities to the team that's hosting that day. No, I'm not wild about that. I hadn't heard any of that. Is that out there?
Just a few circles.
Must be the younger bunch. It's
probably the younger bunch.
I haven't heard it in my bunch. Real quick, let's take Joe. Joe wants to talk about Tiger football. Joe, you're on Sportstime. Good afternoon.
Hey guys. Real quick, just about Tulsa. I feel like Philip Montgomery, I don't know if he's on the hot seat or not, but I feel it's very similar to Fuente's second year when they actually regressed in the win-loss record. But you saw the game against UCF where they had Bortles and them on the ropes, and there was progress. Like
beat Arkansas State.
Yeah, beat Arkansas State, had Teddy Bridgewater and Louisville on the ropes, but the win-loss record went down. But then you saw they busted through the door the next year. I feel like with Montgomery, he had that 10-win season, which I think they won the Miami Beach Bowl, very similar to the Tigers and about as successful. And they regressed in the win-loss. They've lost just tons and tons of single-digit games, and they're competitive every week. So it's the quintessential trap game, as you guys
It really is, Joe. It really is. Now, this fifth year for him, they've been mostly pretty patient with him. I think he's improved this year, but this is one of the trap games of all time, and the Tigers just win by one and get on the charter home Saturday night and set up the November 2nd festivities, which will be a lot of fun. This portion of our show brought to you by Jason's Deli. I know they'll be at the game tonight, and I know they'll be watching the Tigers intently on Saturday. If you want to have a game-watching party, best place to cater is from Jason's Deli, catering anytime, anywhere. And the time of year for office parties, we're getting to that point of the year, and let Jason's Deli cater any event for you between now and the end of the year for the holidays and office parties and all the get-togethers that we have this time of year. If you're thinking about dinner right now, head to Jason's Deli at any of these locations on Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. All the great salads, all the great meats, cheeses, spreads, breads at Jason's Deli. All the great seasonal soups like the beef stew that right now you can get it at Jason's Deli. You can get the cup or you can get the heavier portion. All the food at Jason's Deli, trans fat free, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free. Plenty of organic food to choose from. Great salad bar, over 30 items just on the salad bar. Again, the catering anytime, anywhere. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. If you're in any of these locations like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova, wrap up the meal with the free ice cream from Jason's Deli. Wholesome food forever. It's a family thing at Jason's Deli. When we come back, we talk this World Series, the Washington Nationals, 2 down, 2 to go to be champions of baseball. We do it with Tim Doolin. He's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Get happy with Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Get your gun, Nelly, and saddle up Penelope. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Buick GMC. Old-time trading prices on over 700 new Buicks and GMC trucks, and the Sunrise Used Car Corral has over 500 in stock. Ranch managers have been told to cut prices to the bone, and remember, you can bring your car to Sunrise Service no matter where you bought it. If you're a good person with bad credit, SunriseMemphis.com will help you put one of your brand on these little fillies. Free hot dogs and Cokes at the Chuck Wagon. Western Trading Days going on now at all 3 Sunrise locations. We make it fun to buy a car again.
Mike Tirico and Tony Baselli here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview. We're getting set for the Washington Redskins at the Minnesota Vikings. And Tony, Kirk Cousins and the Vikings red hot. They are 5-2, having won 3 in a row.
Mike, and a big reason for the 3-game winning streak is Kirk Cousins. He's playing the best football of his career, and he's the highest-rated quarterback in the NFL. On top of that, they have a great rushing attack with Dalvin Cook. They're a very good team, but they can't relax. Even though the 1-6 Washington Redskins are coming to town, they need a win to keep pace with the Packers in their division.
Yeah, sounds terrific, Tony. I look forward to joining you in Minneapolis for the Redskins and the Vikings on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, 0 heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. 0 heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
I never get sick. Never taken a sick day. I'm not going to let a little thing like 100-degree fever stop my business. You know what really makes me sick? Downtime. You know the cure to downtime? Grainger. With same-day pickup, next-day delivery options, and time-saving inventory solutions, Grainger keeps our facility running and fit as a fiddle. Some people go to the doctor. I go to America's trusted source for industrial supplies, because Grainger's got my back. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're someone that enjoys a truly great steak, then there's only one choice for you downtown. 117 Prime. 117 Prime has lots of different things on the menu, but the main attraction is the steaks. Prepared by chefs that love a great steak, you can choose from the 5 or 10 ounce fillets, the 16-ounce prime, the 8-ounce top sirloin cap culotte, or the 14-ounce New York strip, or the king of them all, the 24-ounce dry-aged porterhouse. You heard that right, 24 ounces of the best steak you've ever tasted. If you're craving steak, then head downtown to the steak experts. Head to Prime.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Here once again
are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Yeah, Drew was asking me during the break. We welcome you back. Drew was asking me during the break, how did everything transpire back in 2014 for Ole Miss to get Katy Perry, where her manager is an Ole Miss grad, and he had called about a month or so and said, if you get it, if it all works out, I think she would like to, come down and be a part of it. And everybody got together, both sides, and it went off smashingly well. That was her first college football game she had ever been to. I don't know if she'd been to any since. I know she did the Super Bowl, 5 months later? She was the halftime performance in Glendale at the Seattle, New England Super Bowl. But, but if the Tigers get that day, they've got a nice pool of special guest stars that they can deal with and deal from, and it'll be a lot of fun. A lot of fun this World Series, just like we all figured. Nationals up 2-0, heading back to Washington, D.C. for Game 3 to talk baseball with us like he has all baseball season long. It's Tim Doolin. And, Tim, this series, I picked the Nationals only because I was for them. I did not think they would win. I didn't think anybody could beat Houston. And now Houston looks like just a lot of other teams, and that's what good pitching and good defense and timely hitting would do, and the Nationals have done it.
Well, not only have they done it, Stats, I think you got to add to the fact that this team is so full of young, really, really good potential superstars, actually. And like we talked about the last couple of weeks is we knew these guys were dangerous. We knew they were playing as good as anybody in baseball. And why not them? And I'm sure in the clubhouse they're saying, why not us? And they go out and really just punch the Astros in the mouth at Houston against two of, if not the best pitchers in baseball, two of the better pitchers in baseball. And I got to think they're going to win tonight. Greinke is really not near as good as those other two guys are. And the fact that he is going to leave some balls up, they're going to sit on some breaking balls. And if they sit on a breaking ball and get an average to maybe a tick below average breaking ball, they're going to hammer some baseballs tonight. And I think they're going to win tonight. If they win tomorrow. One of these next tomorrow. If they win one of these next two games, they're for sure going to win it. But I think they're going to win tomorrow.
Well, we could look up, and before the weekend's over, baseball's over. I mean, they could close it out 4-0 Saturday or 4-1 into Sunday with Game 3 being tomorrow night, and it will be something else at Nationals Park. And I mentioned it earlier. I brought up some old names from when the city of Washington last won it in 1924 with the Senators. To think of Rendon, Turner, Soto, Zimmerman, they're 2 games away from winning it, and they're 2 games away from winning it without Bryce Harper.
Oh yeah, I mean, and then they've got another young superstar in their center fielder that actually Dalton got a chance to play with, and I mean you saw this guy play one time, and you go, this guy Robles is going to be a star, and so they've got. They did lose Bryce Harper, a mega star, but at the end of the day, they got some really good young talent that have probably played a little bit over their skis, but yet their potential is still probably as good as what you've seen. And they're just exciting to watch, and they're not in awe at all, obviously, of the Astros.
No, they're not, and the Astros are a pretty awe-inspiring team. I saw them in St. Louis, and they just put it on the Cardinals in late July, and then they survived the American League full season and have home field advantage, and now Washington riding this wave. Sometimes, Tim, you just can't get in the way, but you don't know it until it's over that was the destiny team. But this could be a little bit like 2004 Boston Red Sox, and nothing was stopping them after they came back from 3 down to the Yankees.
Yeah, and you know what? The Astros, I wouldn't say the Astros have played bad in these two games. They've made some mistakes, and they've, cost themselves a couple of runs on base running mistakes. But overall, they've just gotten beat by a better club that's playing better than they are right now. On paper, we all talk about, the Astros are dominant. They are, and they were. But how the Nationals are playing right now, it's just scary good, and it's very fun to watch. And I think the ratings have been through the roof.
It's very fun to watch. Some of these new managers, we'll get back to the World Series, but some of these new managers named, you called it the whole time. You thought Joe Girardi would end up in Philly, and you thought that the Cubs would go toward David Ross. If you had to guess, if you had to bet, you guessed and bet right for sure on that. I would have hired Joe Girardi over David Ross, but I don't want to second guess anything about Theo Epstein.
Well, I can tell you this, and just my gut is based on how the industry has gone. I think David Ross was probably more willing to accept the fact that Theo was going to tell him a lot of things to do and how to do it, whereas Joe Girardi, a veteran manager, old school guy, although I think he's open to some of the latest technology in sabermetrics and analytics and all that. I think in his interview, he probably conveyed, hey, I want more control of this team than having you or anybody else in the front office tell me who to play. And I think that's why you saw the way it turned out.
And what you just described kind of comes back to the World Series and the blend of old school, the book, sabermetrics, all analytics. Last night, the first intentional base on balls issued by the Astros this year. They just don't do it as a franchise, just kind of one of their credos. They don't do that. Also, they did not advance scout any of the National League teams. They were just preparing for them and kind of had their analytics on them. I still think you need that scout out there watching, don't you?
Oh, there's no question, Stats. You're spot on. I talked about it with several scouts 2 weeks ago when I was in West Palm Beach. You can have all the analytics in the world, but if you don't have eyes on players and seeing what their latest tendencies are, how they're reacting to certain pitches, how they're playing, are they healthy? Can you sense something that's going wrong, whether it's their mental approach, whether they're physically or whatever? I think setting really good scouts' eyes on players prior to a team going in, it doesn't matter if it's the regular season or the postseason or the World Series. I think it's invaluable.
I do. I think you have to be there. And look, none of them are operating from tight budgets. Do it all. No. Do all the above. Do all the
stats. It goes back to this: is the analytic people in the front office do not want that to happen because they want to be right, and they're going to be right because you can finagle your statistical analysis any way you want to create a successful result. So they don't want the naked eye and having a scout tell someone, this is what I saw, and that got to be right.
And I just know.
I think that's a large part of it.
And a lot of times with kind of bureaucracy and institutions, you see it too often, a lot of times in government. Even if we're going to be better, we want to keep doing it our way because it keeps us all of us in a job. And with that, I'm seeing at the bottom of the ticker, Bill James, the father of sabermetrics, he's leaving the Boston Red Sox. You don't think that's a sign of them maybe going back toward maybe more old school, do you?
I do in some regards, and I think at the end of the day, I think you're going to see over the next couple of years a balance of the two, and I'm for the balance of the two. I'm just not for one or the other. I think that I talked to Terry Bevington, who's on our staff and managing the major leagues. There has to be a blend of it. We were doing sabermetrics stats when I played. And when Terry managed, it was just done on paper and charts, and we got the information from scouts. We saw tendencies, etc. They knew all that. It's just now it's gotten much more advanced in a positive way. But I still say you have to have a blend, and I think what's going to happen, much like when we went through Moneyball, and once we saw what Jeff Luhnow was able to do when he left the Cardinals and created what he did in Houston, which was awesome. I think you're going to see owners look at this in a different light and evaluate before they just go one way or the other.
And Tim, you're right. We just didn't package it very well. We just called it a old-fashioned scouting report. They slapped a fancy name on it, sabermetrician, sabermetrics, all the analytics, and the whiz kids, the smart kids in the room got a better label put on it. And Bill James, largely the father of it.
Sure. No question about it. And then you get a couple of young executives that graduate from MIT or Harvard or Yale, and all of a sudden they're
We
smarter.
didn't do that either, did we, Tim?
No. Far from that. Smarter from all the old school baseball people that have a tremendous amount of wisdom that I have the utmost respect for.
Before this World Series, if somebody said, okay, Rendon and Turner on the left side of the Nationals defense versus Bregman and Correa, well, we all kind of collectively would have chuckled at them, but the left side of the Nationals defense, both offensively and defensively, through 2 games, are having them a World Series and having them a great postseason.
Well, there's no doubt about it. And I don't know that it would have been a shoo-in that you would have picked the Astros left side of the infield over those two guys. Rendon is arguably the best third baseman and one of the best hitters in the game. Bregman's very good. He hasn't played great defensively in this World Series, but he's awesome. And to be honest with you, Correa's outstanding, but here you got Turner, who's playing and has played a bulk of the back half of the season with a broken finger and a surgery that really went bad. So he's all padded up, and I promise you, I've had finger injuries and hands injuries. You don't want to be at the plate when a guy's throwing 90 to 98 miles an hour and pounding you inside. Don't think for a minute those pitchers don't know that his finger's on fire and they're pounding him inside. And you hit a ball down toward the label, you might as well stick both fingers in the electrical outlet and shock the crap out of you.
Can't imagine.
And it's going to be chilly tomorrow night.
It will be. It'll be cold in Washington, D.C., but it'll be fun to see that atmosphere. And I know somebody's going to, as soon as they win it, if they indeed win it, they're going to break out the headline, first in peace, first in war, and first in baseball for the Washington Nationals, the old Senator song. All right, tell me, who's the sickest of these two teams? The Dodgers having to watch what the Nationals are doing, or the Brewers?
Or the Yankees. I think the Dodgers probably number one. The Brewers, I think, are sick, but you kind of say, look, we lost Christian Yelich, arguably the best player in the game, and we were still able to get fairly deep. I don't know that anybody in Vegas would have said that they would have had a chance to get where they got to without, a Christian Yelich. I think the Yankees, I saw Cashman today get really grilled by the media, questioning why he didn't trade for some of these guys, Verlander and Scherzer and those type of guys when they were on the trading blocks. They grilled him. And
and Aaron Judge said it was
all is not well in New York, I can assure you.
Well, it's tough to be the king, and Aaron Judge said the season was a disaster.
That's not really a great statement to say. It's a disaster in the sense they didn't accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. Aaron Judge can say it was a disaster, but he wasn't healthy the whole year.
Yeah, but it's the high standard that the Yankees
no question about it.
No
question about
and
it.
the children of, the sons of, and the daughter of the boss of George Steinbrenner. When he would lose the World Series, he fired everybody after losing that 81 strike shortened World Series to the Dodgers. Man, it was the full bulldozer.
Yep, it was, and he had a very short fuse. Obviously, he fired Billy Martin many times. So
I think Billy Martin loved playing along with it, though, don't you? I think he liked.
Oh no, he did. It was all part of great drama. It'll be interesting to see. We really haven't talked about it. It's going to be interesting to see who the Red Sox hire as their GM, because until they get a GM, we're not going to know where Martinez is going to go. Are they going to trade Mookie to try to get something for him and restart? Are they going to try to continue to, get a long-term deal done with Mookie? It'll be interesting to see what the Red Sox are going to do as well.
Tim, I do not want to step on any private information as a friend that you are with Stubby Clapp, but just if you can, do you think Stubby's got a shot at the Pittsburgh job?
I think he does, in the sense that, the Pirates have traditionally been and Clint Hurdle was this way, kind of a blue-collar, motivating type of manager. Stubby has all those qualities. Is he a year or two premature? I don't think so, because I know how difficult his task was managing and having the success he had in AAA. I played in AAA for obviously too many years. However, dealing with the psyche of players coming down, we talk about this a lot on the show, but having players coming down from the big leagues, they're unhappy. Having guys go up, they're happy, and then they end up coming back down. So it's like Dr. Phil in that clubhouse of a AAA club. And for him to be able to do it with that many roster moves for St. Louis with great talent and win the way he did over this last several years when he was in AAA is astonishing. It tells you the type of guy he is.
Tim, I can tell you this. If they hire him, my second favorite team will be the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, there's no question about it. He's a class guy, and he puts in a hard day's work. He cares about his players, and he'll be a manager one day. I'm confident. I would hope that the Pirates give him that opportunity. That would be awesome.
Tim, enjoy the baseball this weekend, and we'll visit next week, sadly for the last time, unless something big happens over the hot stove, and you know that it will. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, Stats, thanks.
You got it. Tim Doolin talking baseball with us every Thursday afternoon. I am far Stubby Clapp. What a guy. Also, I'm far this down at All-Star Chevrolet. If you're in the market for a Chevy car, truck, or SUV, new or pre-owned, see my guys at All-Star Chevrolet. See Drew, see Scott, see the whole team down at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. They will treat you like a star, like a member of the family. Simple as ABC. A is the All-Star Challenge, to beat any written offer from any Mid-South dealer, or they buy you a tank of gas. B, the better buying experience. They value your time, and they'll make it quick. And C, customer care. They want you to be an All-Star family member for this car, truck, and all the cars and trucks that you'll ever need. Before you head to All-Star and Olive Branch, check out the inventory at allstarautogroup.com. Silverados, Equinox, Traverse, Impala, Camaro, best Chevy lineup ever. Baseball and Chevy, they go together, don't they, this time of year? Don't go to Collierville, the Pike, or South Haven. Find new roads to Olive Branch and All-Star Chevy, minutes from anywhere in Memphis, or go to allstarautogroup.com. Mention you heard about them on this station, and you'll get a Malco movie gift card when you test drive any All-Star Chevy you want. Again, go to allstarautogroup.com or head down to Olive Branch to All-Star Chevrolet. We come back, we wrap up the day with Taco Bell Crunch Time. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find Real Sports Talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Did you pay a big repair bill on your existing heating and air conditioning system this year? Is your energy-guzzling heating and air conditioning system on its last leg and you think it's worth nothing? Good news, it's buyback days at Conway Services. We'll buy back your repair bill this year up to $1,500 toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. That's right, we'll buy back your repair bill up to $1,500, even if we didn't do the repair. Just show us your repair receipt from any company and we'll buy your repair back. If you didn't have a repair bill this year, we'll give you up to $1,500 trade-in on that old energy-guzzling system toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. When air conditioners get old and inefficient, the cost of repairs and high utility costs could almost pay for a new system. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quick. quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare contracts, and in the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. I guarantee if we can't cancel your timeshare contract, you'll pay nothing.
Were you lied to when buying a timeshare and want out? Get the facts about timeshare cancellation. Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-542-7711. 800-542-7711. 800-542-7711.
How you doing, people? And if you're in the market for a new Chevy car, truck, or SUV, new or pre-owned, see my guys at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. They will treat you like a star. It's simple as ABC. A is the All-Star Challenge to beat any written offer from any Mid-South dealer, or they buy you a tank of gas. B, better buying experience. They value your time and make it quick. C, customer care. They want you to be an All-Star family member for this car or truck and all the other ones you'll ever need. And before you head to All-Star and Olive Branch, check out the inventory at allstarautogroup.com. Silverados, Equinox, Traverse, Impala, Camaro. They have all you ever need with the best Chevy lineup ever. So don't go to Collierville, The Pike, or South Haven. Find new roads to Olive Branch and All-Star Chevrolet. Minutes from anywhere in Memphis, or go to allstarautogroup.com. Just mention you heard about them on this station and you'll get a Malco movie gift card when you test drive any All-Star Chevy you want.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live.
It's crunch time.
In your life, have you seen anything like that?
We'll take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
He's a professional. He's pretty classy for his age.
You know, crunch time, that's the frustrating part. Little Penny could make some appearances this year.
Okay, I'm not huge into stats.
Has it always been this way?
It's crunch time, so I got a different mind state.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
Immediately when the buzzer sounds, he lets out this shriek.
You throw those ears for him, and he was in stroke mode.
This is stupid.
It's obviously crunch time.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Learned today that the worst record through 50 games by a team in Major League Baseball that went on and won the World Series was the Marlins in 2003. They were 21-29. They got hot late that year with Trader Jack, with Jack McKeon. The Nationals are 2 wins away from breaking that record. They started 19-31 this year, so that would be the worst record through 50 to go on and win it. And if they do, that will serve as motivation for everybody scuffling around Memorial Day from now on. Remember the Nationals in 2019. What'd you learn today?
Learned today that John Paul Funes, the former president and CEO of Our Lady of the Lake Foundation in Baton Rouge, was sentenced to 33 months in federal prison today as he pled guilty to embezzling more than $500,000 from the hospital foundation and giving some of the stolen money to the parents of 2 former LSU football players. 33 months. It's a long time.
That's a long time, and really some tawdry details in that. That's a big LSU sponsor. In fact, last night, don't ask me why, but I was listening to some of the Ed Orgeron show on WWL, and that is a big sponsor of his weekly call-in show, the Coach O Show on LSU football. I could have done without, probably me listening to Coach O last night, but also this is going to be a preemptive could have done without, because it's going to happen soon. Tigers could beat the Grizzlies. That's going to happen this year, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to happen. Then East High School could beat the Grizzlies because obviously they can always beat the Tigers.
Okay, it can happen out of passion and love by fandom, but this is when it's going to bother me. From people that should know better than saying it. Some of those same people that were sick enough that they saw something out on a basketball court that the Tigers had to change the design of it, and some of those same clowns that were telling us from their sources that JT and Drake were coming to Memphis Madness. Before it's over this year, they will say the Tigers could beat the Grizzlies. What is it you could have done without?
Well, they'll obviously say it after tonight, I believe. But I could have done without Nick Saban being a jerk like always and the whole world just chuckling and saying, "That's old Nick. What are you going to do about it?" The reporter today asked a simple question about a Tua's brother might get a chance to play against Arkansas this weekend. It's due to the fact that we know how good Alabama is and we know how bad Arkansas is. And old Nick just went off on him for no reason, almost smacked the Coke bottle like normal, and
Coke
walked off.
Down.
I know, and walked off.
Stormed
out after. And why? I still just I don't get it. Why does Saban, Pop, and Belichick all get to act like jerks when none of the rest of us do?
All those rings and all those titles. I'm keeping a close eye on a lot tonight. Like number 16, SMU at Houston. Good question from the texter late in the show. Should we really be for SMU like we are?
I'll say yes. Give me game day.
Go Ponies. Me too. Stay undefeated and set up some magic next week, potentially in Memphis. Tigers and CBU at FedEx Forum. Will James Wiseman even play tonight? Greg made a good point about either in this one or against Lemoyne. Owen can't see him playing in both because they got to get him ready for what really matters. NBA, Milwaukee at Houston. Come June, that could be the NBA Finals. Late, the Clippers open the new arena in San Francisco against Golden State. That could be the Western Conference Finals come late May. First time since 1967, the Warriors' home opener in San Francisco, not in East Bay in Oakland. NFL, Washington with Case Keenum back to Minneapolis against Kirk Cousins, who used to play for Washington, now playing for the team in Minneapolis. Feels like a blowout tonight in Minneapolis, doesn't it?
It should. I also thought it was a blowout last week in Washington, but I lost by the half point.
We got all the action right here tonight, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Washington and Minnesota, and we will have picks tomorrow. And y'all need to catch up because I'm blowing you out. I'm way ahead. When we come, we will be back tomorrow. Dave will be in Tulsa. He'll join us at some point. For Drew, for Dave, I'm Brett. Everyone have a safe, great Thursday. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Hey, Tiger fans, this is John Stacy of the Blue and Gray Show. You can hear Drew Barrett and I talk Tigers with Tigers every Sunday at 5 right here on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Drew, who do we got in the studio with us this week?
This week on the show, John and I are joined in studio by former University of Memphis Tigers wide receiver Joe Craig as we break down the Tulsa game and get you ready for the big AAC matchup against SMU.
Thanks, Drew. We'll be here Sunday on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. The Blue and Gray Show, where we talk Tigers with Tigers.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time.